Oh honey, I am so not. Oh, oh honey, I am so not threatened by you. My man wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. My man with a 10-foot pole. My man wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. My man with a 10-foot pole. Last time they checked, you don't have a man. You don't have a man. You don't have a man. Last time they checked, you don't have a man. You don't have a man. You don't have a man. So you're the needy press. Last time they checked, you're the needy press. So you're the needy press. Last time they checked, you're the needy press. My man wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. My man with a 10-foot pole. My man wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. You're just mad because I have a chat. Last time they checked, you don't have a man. You don't have a man. You don't have a man. Last time they checked, you don't have a man. You don't have a man. You don't have a man. My man wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. Yes!
Ooh, I'm little again. Hello, everybody. Hello. Good afternoon or good morning. It's not quite the afternoon here yet. And give me just a second because I'm having difficulties with my vape mod. Sorry. All right, anyhow. I cannot see the chat yet. But I hope everybody's doing well on this Monday. You know, it is cold as shite here where I live. I don't know. We had a bunch of rain come through, and I have on a sweater today. It is cold in Texas. It's cold in Texas. Down in the South. All right, now I can see the chat. Cold and rainy as fuck here. Yeah, it's usually not cold here like this, but hey, I'll take it. I will take it. What's up, baddie? I saw everyone earlier praying for my Wi-Fi. Please keep those prayers coming because you just never know. Never know with my shit. All right, let me fix my audio. I'm going to turn myself up a little bit. Let me know if I'm too loud because I am a loud person. It's snowing there, Holly Suzanne. Where are you at? My novella is cold in Wisconsin, I bet. See, it's been so pretty here, like spring. Jesus, I'm falling apart. Spring has sprung. The flowers are blooming. It's beautiful. And then, yeah, it's cold today. But I'm sure we'll be back in the 90s tomorrow. It's cold in Houston, too. Yeah, I'm not far. Not too far from you. Hey, Jedica. Thank you, my friend, for, the little catchy app. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I thank all of you, for real. It really helps me and stuff, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Peppermint Patty, Peppermint Farm remembers. Man, we got a lot of peppermints in here today. There's Jay Thomas, The Real Sally's Potion Joy. It's Erin. Patience. Hey, Patience. Good to see you again. Girl Mom Era, Kathleen Fleck, Phaedra, Crystal Pistol, Beautiful Disaster, Susan Ryan. Come on, who else did I miss? Anna Alley, Jackie Kornowski, Delilah Dove. I owe you an apology. I was upset with you for the injustice. Okay, it's all right. It's okay. No hard feelings. I didn't even know that you were upset with me. I knew a lot of people were, but, sometimes you just have to wait for people to see things on their own, You know. I feel like a right stupid dumbass because of this believing. Oh, I know. I don't even know what to say about that. That is some wild stuff when it comes to Trixie Lane. I knew something was off about her. I just could not quite put my finger on it. But no hate to anyone that, chooses to believe her. But I'm calling bullshit. But do your thing, girl. Do your thing. It is the Wild West, Phaedra. I'm glad you weren't mad at me. Thank you. I was trying to be fair. But yeah, more's come to light since all that happened. And whoa, Nelly. The random blonde, the Trixie Lane stuff is crazy. Yes, it is. I missed the end of Morbids. I missed the very end because I fell asleep. So, did anything else happen after that? I don't think he was live too much longer after I had to go. I feel bad for Toddy being in the middle. Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. And that's what sucks about being a creator. So, there's a lot of shit that comes with being a creator. And one of those things is when things like this happen and people get stuck in the middle, and it'll work itself out. This too shall pass. Hakab, Party of Six. Bridget. I fell asleep. Also got to go rewatch. Yeah, I got to see if I missed anything. Yeah, Toddy's a really great person, and I think Toddy has a huge heart. So, we'll see. We'll see. Toddy, yeah, I watched some. I don't know I think I finished it. I watched Toddy's video about the whole thing. If nobody has seen that, check it out. What's up, Laura Lynn? Carolina Girl? Kathleen Fleck? When is his next show? Who, Morbid? Probably not. Probably Tuesday. Tomorrow. Hey, Dots. Craft Crime Gossip. Toddy does have a huge heart. Yes, she does. Yeah, she does try to see the good in everyone. Very true. Love me some Toddy. All right, let's see. We got stinky socks up in here. Yeah, trust no one, right? Hey, Yaddle. All right, guys. Miss Fancy Pants, Angel Baby. She looked and sounded just like how, yeah. I mean, the info's out there now. People can decide what they want to do with it. Hey, Bonnie. Love you back. Batty, 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 batty. Peachy MB. What's up? Chula Head. Chula Head. Let's see. Chula Head. Okay. Have a great live. Just wanted to pop in and thank you, Marie. I love you so much. Oh, shit show. What the fuck are you doing here, you son of a bitch? What's up, AC? Good to see you. It's going to be very boring, so I'm sure you won't stick around. Unless you have some weird fascination with Gypsy, but anyways, so all right, we're going to jump on this bandwagon of reading documents, okay? So, a couple months back, I read these documents, but a lot of people don't like to hear people read documents, but I think all of the documents are important. I think everyone who is invested in this case should absolutely read the documents. Like, that's where everything is. I know you pop in from time to time. You just better behave yourself, AC. Don't be causing no bullshit on these YouTube streets, but I digress because I heard you called out Lay Geno, and that shit is funny. All right, moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, keep all of your items inside of the vehicle at all times. Do not put your arms or legs outside of the vehicle. And smoke them if you got them, because we're going to go down the motherfucking jippity dip shit rabbit hole. Every time I hear that, it's just the same words come to mind every single time. Oh, you creepy, creepy little bitch. You're so creepy, Gypsy. All right, so what I'm going to be going over today are Gypsy's preliminary hearing, her preliminary hearing that was held on, what does the date say? July 24th. You know what? I don't even have them pulled up on my screen. Let me go ahead and do that. July. Hold up. Wait a minute. July 24th, I believe this was held. And, all right, hold on. Y'all give me just a freaking second here. All right, there is that. Sorry. All right, I'm just going to read for you in case you do not know what a preliminary hearing is. A preliminary hearing, also known as a probable cause hearing, is a court proceeding that determines if there's enough evidence to proceed to trial for a felony charge, essentially acting as a, quote, trial before the trial. So the reason to me that these are very important is because this is where the state of Missouri, Mr. not Stanfield, what's the other ones? What the fuck is his name? Of course, I'm not going to remember it right now. Not Mr. Patterson. Mr. Patterson. He's the state attorney, prosecutor. Okay. So this is him building his case against Gypsy. There's a lot of nuggets in here. Okay. So it's a good read, in my personal opinion. It's it's 101 pages. Hopefully the lovely Becca Scoops will be joining me to read these in a second. So before I read them, though, I want to read you the news article about her preliminary hearing. So let's see. What the fuck? Did I already pass it all? Where's the dang article? Ads. The hell? Where's the damn article? It's nothing but ads. I must have clicked on something, maybe. Hold on. Let me get it. I've got the link saved, so I need to know about your eggs in Missouri. All right, here we go. I must have pushed a button, and I can't speak today, which should be great because I have to read. All right, here we go. Gypsy Blanchard sobs in court as judge moves case toward trial. This is on July the 25th of 2015. Greene County Prosecutor Dan Patterson read aloud haunting messages that he said were sent from Gypsy Blanchard to Nicholas Godejohn, both charged with murder. And there you got little Jippity dipshit. Her little head peeking out there. Just love it so much. Look at her scared out of her drawers. Look at that. Oh, that's what you were attracted to, Ryan and Ken. This is what she looked like. I'm just saying. All right. Quote, we're doing this tonight. Quote, you may not need to put on the gloves because we will sink it so it's never found. A judge ruled Friday afternoon that those texts, along with other evidence, were enough to move Gypsy's case towards trial as Gypsy herself sat silently, wiping tears from her face with shackled hands for most of the preliminary hearing. 3 hours. It was 3 hours, this hearing. The state's case, which aims to prove that Gypsy asked her boyfriend Godejohn to kill Gypsy's mother, Claudinia Dee Dee Blanchard, began with two separate witnesses from the Greene County Sheriff's Office testifying to their involvement in the investigation into Claudine's death. Jim Stanley, a supervision sergeant with the Greene County Sheriff's Office, described his entry into the Blanchard's home and the eventual discovery of Claudinia's body. Remember, we're about to read the actual transcripts from their depositions. So, as Stanley sat on the witness stand, the shuffling of crime scene photos, the only noise in the courtroom, Gypsy rocked back and forth in her chair, staring straight ahead. You knew, and in this moment, she knew she was fucked. Okay? She knew, and Mr. Stanfield knew that she was fucked. That's why you were rocking back and forth. You were scared because you were caught. You were busted. The jig was up. Okay. Prosecutors showed a series of the photos of the crime scene. They asked the deputy to describe the more gruesome ones. Stanley. Okay, sorry, I keep getting names confused. Stanley then described aloud a series of photos taken of Claudinia's body, face down in a pool of black, dried blood. The, quote, numerous stab wounds to her body, a, quote, deep cutting mark on the back of her neck. Patterson asked Stanley if he had checked Claudinia for vital signs upon finding her. Quote, no respiration, Gypsy began crying softly. Quote, no pulse, Gypsy's head sank. All right, let's read that again. No respiration, Gypsy began crying softly. No pulse, Gypsy's head sank. Then Stanley finally said it. She was deceased. Gypsy began visibly shaking as she sobbed. You're fucked, bitch. That's why. Stanley also noted the discovery of an envelope at Godejohn's residence in Wisconsin containing an 11-inch knife and bloody blue latex gloves. In his cross-examination of the witness, all right, hold on. In his cross-examination of the witness, Michael Stanfield, Gypsy's public defender, noted that, quote, volunteer, the name of the street where Gypsy has lived for years, was misspelled on the envelope. Yeah, Gypsy probably did that on purpose, just saying. Stan Hancock, a criminal investigation division detective, discussed the contents of a backpack and suitcase found in Godejohn's residence, as well as 8 pages of Facebook records. Stanley and Patterson dueled over the validity of the Facebook records for some time, although they were eventually accepted as evidence. They referred to Gypsy to Blanchard being packed and ready for a trip. In this cross-examination, Stanfield asked if Hancock had found any records specifically showing Blanchard asking Godejohn to kill her mother. Hancock stated he had, but did not want to say anything without exact wording. So Gypsy, yeah, well, she's pretty much already admitted that she did ask him to kill her mom. The last witness, Michael Costello, has a computer forensic examiner for the Springfield Police Department. Patterson submitted a series of text messages that Costello had pulled from phones he said belonged to Gypsy and Godejohn. All right, so I don't really want to read the rest of this because we're going to go through those in the documents. But I wanted you to get, an example of Gypsy's, demeanor during this this preliminary hearing, because in my personal opinion, this is the moment, because Gypsy didn't know they had her text messages. She didn't know that they were going to have her Facebook messages, the videos with the toothbrushes. Like, she thought she really was going to get away with this shit. And, the preliminary, they were arrested on what, the 15th? Sorry, my mouse is wanting to be stupid all of a sudden. Come on. Anyways, they were arrested on the 15th. Do y'all know? Was it the 15th? I believe it was the 15th. And the preliminary hearing was July the 25th or 24th. So not long after their arrest, right? And a lot has come out since, this is, just keep in mind, this is part of Mr. Patterson building his case against Gypsy. Thanks for listening last night, or if you are going, oh yeah, for sure. Thank you for educating us. It was very eye-opening, to say the least. I think a lot of people are still stunned. Sounds about right, because they discovered the body. Yes. So they were arrested the 14th or the 15th, something like that. Those prison stripes are the only right. I'd love to see her in those again. Thank you, Mama Holly. I just saw your thing. Thank you. All right. You haven't slept. Why? Why not? My brain is still trying to process. Oh, I know. It's crazy, right? Do y'all want to hear before? Because I'm going to see if Becca is able to come up. I know she needed to go. It's, the time difference. It's only like 9 o'clock there. And I know she's got to do some things, walk her dog. So I really wanted y'all to hear the entire, what is it called? Shit. I cannot find words today. The press conference. The press conference with, was it Mr. Arnott, Jim Arnott, Sheriff Jim Arnott. And it's kind of long. It's 13 minutes, but I think it's very important. Okay. This is after, Gypsy's arrest. They had just arrested her and Nicholas. They had done the interrogation. They had found out that Gypsy was a whole ass fraud. So we're just going to play it in its entirety. All right. So I'm going to just sit here on mute and let this play, unless I feel the urge to comment, but I'm going to try not to. All right, here we go.
He's coming up. He's on channel 2. Is everyone ready? Okay, good morning. I want to specify at the beginning of this press conference that this is an ongoing investigation. And I want to start off with saying things are not always as they appear. I know that you all have most of the information related to the PC statement. So I'm going to start going into some facts that we have, and then I'll take questions. Both Facebook postings that appeared that everyone has copies of were authored by Gypsy. As we dig into this further, we'll have more information regarding the details. I want to make a statement to use caution in donating money to this family at this time, as we have unearthed the appearance of a long financial fraud scheme along with this tragic event. It appears, as you all know, when we put out the age of Gypsy, it appears that there is several date of births that have been used over a period of time, ranging from the age of 19 to 23. And we will dig into that further to find the exact correct one. We have investigators working on that. We also know that she can walk without assistance or a wheelchair, and she can do that very well. We really don't know the true background of this family. We received information that they are Hurricane Katrina victims, as you all have, but we have not confirmed that. This is a tragic event surrounded by mystery and public deception. I want to say thanks to the Waukesha County Sheriff's Office and to Sheriff Severson, who has been an invaluable resource to the Greene County Sheriff's Office as we've proceeded through this investigation. We are at a point now that the prosecutor has filed charges this morning for first-degree murder on 2 suspects. You have that information. We also have booking photos to pass out to the media of when both of these 2 suspects were booked in. We do appreciate the public's assistance in this entire case. We received a lot of background information. A lot of information has come forward, and we appreciate everyone's assistance through this tragic event, and I'll take questions.
How do you believe other suspect got to Wisconsin? We read that they took a yellow cab from the house, but where from there?
They had taken a bus.
How did they meet?
We're still investigating the extent of the relationship, but it has been referred to as boyfriend, girlfriend. And I can't give you an exact way of how they met, but this investigation is still ongoing. We'll have further information on that.
Do you know more of the timeline now of when the murder occurred?
We do have a timeline. We know that they were here in Springfield for at least probably 1 to 2 days after the murder had taken place. And there is video footage of them, several different businesses here in Springfield before they departed.
Hello, Becca.
Hey guys, sorry I'm a little late.
No, you're
Early
fine.
here. Yeah.
I
okay.
know, you're fine. I thought I would let this play because I think it's just important that people
No,
hear
it's super important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
A lot of people haven't heard it, and it's,
It's interesting, super interesting to listen to.
Mm-hmm. And what I kind of want to show today is like how they were building their case against her.
Right. Right. The real story. Yeah, exactly. But I think it's very important to understand, to go back to the day one when she's arrested and then go from there. Yeah.
And it's so interesting, like how things have come out since, because they didn't get to keep on with their investigation like Nick.
No.
And everything's in his appeal, in my opinion. And that would have been in her trial.
I agree. Totally agree.
All right, here we go.
Was it a Greyhound bus or?
It was a, I would assume it would be, because I think that's the only bus station we have here.
What's going to happen to Dee Dee now, the mother?
I don't have all the details on that as of yet. Dee Dee has been separated from their family for at least 16 years for various reasons, as some of you have unearthed by doing some research. But there's not a lot of family contact. And it really goes back to a lot of deception with family and everyone else. And so there's a separation there.
Can you go into more about that financial fraud, what you've learned?
I can't specifically, other than if you, in the investigation, there were several $1,000s in cash stolen that she had in a safe. And we know that they received a lot of GoFundMe accounts. There was some other accounts set up and some other things that we're looking into. But as I said at the beginning, things are not always as they appear. We and we don't know the extent of the fraud, but it seems pretty lengthy.
Did Dee Dee orchestrate the fraud, or was it Gypsy?
Well, we will look into that and see. There's a lot of things that Dee Dee is deceased, so there's not a lot of things that we really need to dig up there specifically for the case. But we do know that there just seems to be a long pattern from being in a wheelchair to, getting people to assist them with finances and things like that. And that's why I caution anyone at this point not to put money in the account until we kind of figure out the extent of their deception.
So Dee Dee was not disabled either?
Well, I can't comment on that specifically right now.
Wait, we have a question.
Are y'all able to hear the questions? Can you hear them, Becca?
It's a little low, but I can, understand from when he responds what he's.
Yeah, because the first one she asked, was Dee Dee doing the con or Gypsy? And
Right.
that's when he said that. And then what was the one? Hold on.
So we kind of
if
the extent.
Dee Dee had medical problems.
Okay.
Can't comment on that specifically right now.
We have a question on the timeline because it kind of goes back and forth with him and her. Did she confess in Wisconsin and then you were waiting for your deputies to get there? The timeline between you talking to him and her, it's kind of muddled.
Right. The sheriff's office up there did not speak to them. They waited until detectives arrived. We tried to get a private charter flight out, but due to financial costs, we couldn't get up there as quick as we wanted. So we had to book a commercial flight for the detectives to fly up. As soon as they were up there and they were able to interview both and also assist in the processing of the house where they were, which contained some evidence.
So they did not talk to them until you guys got there?
That is my understanding.
Where are they at now?
They are in the Waukesha County Jail.
They will be coming back soon.
They will be transported back once we finalize all the paperwork and bringing them across state lines requires us some extra paperwork, but they'll be held there until we transport them back to Greene County.
Any idea why she may have wanted to plan this?
Motive will come out when the trial starts, and I'll leave it to that for the prosecutor to lay out the motive. But I do believe there's enough information there that'll paint a picture.
What do you say to people who knew her, knew Gypsy, and are thinking today, this man must have coerced or this man must be the mastermind?
I'll go back to my first statement. Things are not always as they appear. And
did you hear that question?
Yeah.
Here, I can put this captions
that was
on.
an important question.
How do I do that? What am I doing?
And that is what's tough about living in Springfield, Missouri. That things are not always as they appear.
Well, I can say what he asked. He asked.
What was it?
He asked. The media person asked, did Nick sway her? Basically, was Nick the one that was swaying her? They're already trying to make her out to be the victim, and his answer was, "Hey, things aren't as they appear." So basically, he's like, I have her number,
Mm-hmm. Who interrogated her?
So Detective Stan Hancock.
Okay.
Interrogated her, and a lot of people. You guys are familiar with the Chris Watts case, probably, right?
I'm very, very familiar with the case, yes.
Many of you have probably watched the Chris Watts or part of the Chris Watts interrogation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at some point during that interrogation, the detective is using what's called the Reed technique, and so was Stan Hancock. And if you think about Chris Watts's interrogation, what does the detective offer him? He offers Chris a way out, basically saying, "Oh, did she do something to the kids?
Do it? Mm-hmm.
Did she do something to the kids?" Now, you guys may think, well, that's shitty, No, because what they're trying to do, it's like baby steps. If we can get him to admit that there was a murders that at least he murdered her, right? Mm-hmm. For Chris Watts, like, oh yeah, and then you see Chris is, brain working like, that's right, she did it to the girls, and then I did it to her. Right. And so boom, then they get Chris on that first part of that. Now with Gypsy, he was using kind of the same technique, by kind of commiserating with her. Oh, well, you
can rewrite your story. You have the pencil.
Right. And people were like, well, why is he doing that? Why is he giving her a way out? Why is he? Well, it's the same technique, basically.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll go back to my first statement. Things are not.
hard to rewind. Where is it?
And
Motive, but I do believe there's enough information there that'll paint a picture.
what do you say to people who knew her, knew Gypsy, and are thinking today, this man must have coerced, or this man must be the mastermind?
I'll go back to my first statement. Things are not always as they appear, and that is what's tough about living in Springfield, Missouri. That we are a giving community, that we surround people with love and finances that we believe that needs it. However, a lot of times we're deceived, and I think this might be the case.
How did you learn that she can walk just fine, and what else have you learned about her actual physical and medical condition?
Well, the videos speak for themselves. Up there was no wheelchair taken. She's carrying her own luggage. It's very apparent. And according to the staff that are up there on scene, she's very mobile and able to move around.
We had spoken with neighbors yesterday in the community, and they had mentioned that Gypsy may have had a separate Facebook account. Is that true or false, or can you not speak to that?
I'm sure that's true.
And was she, in the video, was she at all disguised the 1 or 2 days that she was in Springfield, or was she kind of hiding out in the open?
Kind of a combination of both. I would say there is a disguise at one point, but other places, not knowing that anybody's obviously looking for her, because we were not at the time. The days that they spent here, not till we arrived on scene is when we started looking, and she was gone by that time.
You continuously mention the financial fraud. How closely linked to the case and potentially the motive would you say it is, or why is it coming up so often while we're talking about the murder?
Well, I'll throw that back to the media, because you all have unearthed and had a lot of questions, because I've received a lot of phone calls from you all about some of the story does not make sense, and what some of the family members are saying, from her family, where they come from. So it's a very twisted story to try to sort out what's true and what's not, and as far as motives and how that all links back. We just know there's a lot of deception.
Can you describe kind of some of the shock you guys had in investigating this? And, at first you're looking for Gypsy, wondering if she's okay, and then more and more things start to come out.
Yeah, that's definitely true. From the sheriff, definitely down to the detectives that are on the scene working the case, and the patrolman that responded initially. We get, just like anyone else, we are personally involved. We are motivated to find somebody that's gone, what we think originally maybe abducted or maybe murdered somewhere. I can tell you, because I've been involved in several of those from the detective side of things, is a very emotional thing, and it's emotionally draining. But then the discovery that you found someone alive that you were looking for, great deal of relief. And then it goes back to very disheartening when you really unearth the plot.
Tell me if you want me to pause it at any time.
Okay.
And so it's an emotional roller coaster for staff to be involved in these, and draining. We've had officers up for 36, 48 hours straight. So it's been very busy.
Any previous calls to the residents or disputes between Dee and Gypsy that deputies responded to?
No, not that we've had. There was rumors, and there was questions from the media yesterday if we responded to calls reference theft or anything else in previous, and we have not.
And then the second Facebook post had some rape allegations in there. Any evidence of a rape at this point?
That was posted by Gypsy herself.
Okay.
Any information on the male suspect? Does he have a criminal history or anything?
I can't comment on his criminal history. The prosecutor will bring all that out, but nothing like this for sure.
Could you describe any website they met on?
Sorry?
What website did they meet on?
I don't have that information.
Could you describe
More about
Gypsy's
the murder
emotional
weapon.
state during the interview and process with the authorities yesterday or today?
From what I gathered from them, it was calm.
And didn't take any kind of coercion or I guess I shouldn't use that word, but she kind of laid
Absolutely
it out.
not.
She laid it out in the open easily, and it wasn't hard to get to the part of the story.
Correct. Without going into the details of any statements that were made, they were both cooperative.
How were you able to track those posts?
Well, that's an investigative tool that we don't like to disclose, but we are able to track things fairly well. And I think, as anyone knows in technology today, anything that you do on your phone or computers, no matter how hard you try to erase it, it's always there. So,
Can you talk about how did Nicholas get to Springfield?
I believe the same way that they left.
And the knife, I'm trying to recall, did he provide the knife and then talk about how he disposed of it?
Well, I can't right now. There is a that will come out, and it is very
He
interesting.
mailed it?
Well, I won't go into that specifically until we get everything tracked down and the evidence in custody.
Did Dee Dee know that Gypsy was dating this Nicholas? Do you have reason to believe that?
That I don't know. I don't
You
know.
know how long they've been together?
I don't.
Are professionals looking into or any reason to believe that Gypsy has any sort of mental condition, not physical, but any?
No, not that I'm aware of. We will, right now we're in the process of getting all medical records and any type of records, and we'll be reviewing that and forwarding that to the prosecutor for their review.
They were trying to see if she was slow because she had been portraying herself as a slow
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. Plus, because they had all that, they're looking at, all the stuff that they were alleging she had before.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
And
guess
she actually said she had seizures when they got in there. They took her.
that's right.
They
They
took
took
her
her
to the hospital. Yeah.
Mhm. I
They had to
always
clear
forget
her.
about that.
Yeah, they had to clear her at the hospital before they could question her because she said, I haven't had my seizure medication. And I don't know if she believed that or didn't believe that. Who knows?
Mhm.
Um,
But no abuse. No, I was medically abused.
No, no. Can I want to talk about
Fraud.
this two
Mhm.
knives theory that's
Yeah,
been.
that's in this preliminary hearing also. They
Oh,
mentioned these
is it?
two.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll just wait then. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, wait, because
Yeah, I
it'll
want
get
to wait. Yeah, I want to wait before I say anything then.
all right. I'll play this all the way through so we can
Okay,
get to
go
it.
ahead.
At this point, do you guys have an idea as to how long she potentially thought about doing this for mother?
That I can't talk about. That will come out in court. I do want to make a correction on the. We did respond to one call in April, but no disturbances.
The very home they lived in, do you believe that was part of the deceptions in their history? Do you have a timeline?
I think we can all assume things, but I don't know 100%. But it's very concerning. It's very concerning that, like I said, this community is great about taking people in and taking care of them, and this is a perfect example of where we trusted and it didn't work out.
How big of a role did the digital evidence play as you're able to see that the Facebook post came from Wisconsin and were from Gypsy herself?
Huge. That was a big thing to, and for us, the tracking to find the potential suspect and then potential suspects as we continued the investigation. That was a big part of it.
What was the nature of that call in April?
It was a reported burglary.
But it ended up being unfounded?
I don't know the disposition of the case. I don't have the details. Do you guys know?
It was not unfounded.
Not unfounded?
Correct.
Okay.
Anyone charged in that?
No one charged?
No suspects.
No suspects listed? Okay.
Still under investigation?
Sorry, I have to pause that. Are they, if I was half paying attention, they're
Yeah.
talking about Dee Dee had reported a burglary like a couple weeks before that, I think.
Yes.
Which just makes me wonder if Gypsy had stolen from her.
I think what happened was Gypsy was sending money to Nick to come. And so
Oh.
she had to open the safe. She had to get the cash out of the safe. And so Dee Dee thought somebody, and then they blamed it on some girl that lived up the street, some
Yeah,
girl that had not
that
mental,
had
but
the key. She would feed their cats and stuff, and they were out of
right. And
town.
I think she also had, like, which was even worse, is that I think she was kind of slow. She was not, maybe
Mhm.
she was even autistic or something. I'm not sure exactly what her problem was, but yeah,
Yeah.
that Dee Dee, yeah, Gypsy was like, yeah, it's probably her, and so,
Mhm.
yeah, that was what that call was about that, supposed break-in,
Yeah.
but it was just Gypsy, from what I know. I
Yeah.
don't,
And if their house was in that order, is she let the cops into the house? I'm
I
so
don't
confused.
know.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
just
no, I
feel like
do know
there's
what you
something
mean.
up with the crime scene when it comes to, like, the mess. Sometimes I wonder.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I
All right,
know.
here we go. Here we
Okay.
go.
Well, we'll reopen it now, looking into the other things that are going on surrounded with this. Anyone else have any questions I can answer?
Where did you say that we're from, or you said you guys are still looking into it, not really from New Orleans?
Well, we don't know. As you can see, this all came together fairly quick. And quite honest, we're from the show me state, so you're gonna have to show me all the proof. So we're looking into, once we've unearthed, it seems like a huge rabbit trail that we're following to see if anything is true. And so we're going to look at that and see if they truly were Katrina survivors. And but truly, we don't know.
Could part of this be, I don't know, Medicaid fraud and that kind of stuff too? Or are you able to look into medical claims?
We're going to look into everything. To be honest, the big thing here is we have the death and the murder of Dee Dee. So that's the main concern in getting justice for her. However, the reason why I laid out this information is that, number one, you all are unearthing it as we go. So I wanted to head that off and let you know that we're looking into it. But also, there is a lot of accounts set up to help Gypsy and pay for Dee Dee's funeral, when in fact there may be money that can handle that may not have been obtained in the correct way. But I just don't want anyone else to become a victim until we sort out what is going on.
Were they on disability?
That I don't know yet. Like I said, we were really focused on the homicide investigation and unearth some of these things. So I wanted to bring it out and let you know. And then we'll be digging into it. The investigation is going to be ongoing, and try to figure out if we have multiple victims on another type of case and how we can fix that.
And Greene County will be leading the entire investigation.
Yes. I'll take one more question.
Is this one of the strangest cases you've covered or heard about?
It has taken some twists, that's for sure. It's as I said earlier, with the detectives, it's a mental roller coaster, very emotional, and then you come out and go. Today, we're looking at some of the facts and thinking this is not how it started out, and definitely not the ending that we thought it would be. So it's been one of those cases that has taken a lot of twists and turns. I also want to thank Springfield Police Department. One of their computer forensic people helped us early on. Was called out in early morning hours and assisted us with the Facebook issue and those things. So I want to throw that in. And again, the sheriff up in Waukesha County Sheriff's Office has been fantastic to work with. Just a great relationship, and so we're so glad there's a cooperative environment there and able to facilitate us and help us put this case together. So thank you all for coming today. We'll keep you posted as we go and let you know when the suspects are on their way back to Greene County to face the charges. Thank you.
You know what's interesting about the
Indigo
Waukesha?
Sky Casino invites you to come experience pure.
What's interesting about the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department? So Waukesha is where they were taken into custody. So that's where Nick lived up in Big Bend.
Big Bend. Mhm.
And the county was called Waukesha. So it was the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department who, went and arrested them. And that's where they were held in custody there. That's where the interrogations happened. So what's interesting is if you don't have to do this, but if you go back to my last video, at the very end, there's a Waukesha County detective who was working kind of in tandem with them on the case. Of course, it was Greene County's case, but he was involved in the beginning of the case. So when Nick was there and when Gypsy was there, and I can't remember his name, but he's in my last video at the very end. And
Should we play it? That way I could go use the restroom real quick before we get started on reading.
You want me to find it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I can pull it up and
yeah,
just
so it's
towards
my
the
last
end.
video. Or yeah.
Let me go to that.
Let me
real
go
quick.
ahead. You know how to find my videos, right? I mean,
Of course I do.
It's the Gypsy Rose 6 Secrets and Buried Evidence Comes to Light. And let me see if I can find the timestamp. If you want to go to the restroom, I can find the timestamp.
Okay.
Let me find it, and I'll talk a little bit about it while you go to the restroom.
Okay.
So you're gonna go to the restroom?
Yeah. I'll
Okay,
be
go
right
ahead.
back.
Go ahead, because I got to find him. I'm looking for it. Oh shoot. Sorry, guys, I'm looking for it. It's just really interesting how this detective had a different take. Had the take kind of that we all had on it, and it's the first time I've ever heard. I think he felt like he could speak out because he wasn't the guy working on the case, although he was working on the case in the beginning, but he wasn't. Maybe he's not in here. Maybe I had to. I'm pretty sure it's in here. Now I can't find it. Was it in this video or the video before? I can't remember. Shoot. Sorry. Maybe not. Yeah, I can't find it. I don't know. No, I'm pretty sure we didn't have to pull. What I'm saying, pulling something off the video is sometimes when we go to put the video in for YouTube to upload it, we wait as it's being uploaded, and we go through this anxious period where we wait to see if they're going to say, oh, copyright, some of the stuff that we use, if it's from like the Lifetime or from another channel, YouTube will in the beginning go, oh, copyright. And then we have to go back and take stuff out. And I can't find it. Shoot. Sorry, Starlight. I can't find it.
You're all right.
Okay. So anyways, what he says is basically that that he felt justice was not done and that Nick got screwed. And I was like, whoa, I've never heard like a law enforcement person say that in this case.
Where did he say this at?
So it was in one of the documentaries.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll try to find it as we keep going. Just, I'll keep looking. But yeah, it's interesting because I did put it in a video, and I know we didn't have to alter our last couple videos, so it's got to be in here somewhere. But yeah, he's Detective something Voss. I think his name is Detective Voss.
Detective Voss.
Yeah, for Waukesha County Sheriff's Department.
Okay, Waukesha. Gotcha.
Yeah, Waukesha. And so it's not Greene County, it's Waukesha.
Yeah.
And he's saying, look, I believe justice wasn't done. I believe that especially where Nick is concerned, I'm paraphrasing, that that boy man had some issues and he just didn't feel justice was done. So I was like, wow, that's okay.
Yeah. Was it Alan Voss?
Yes. It was Alan Voss. Exactly. Yep. Yep. Yep.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull these up.
Okay. If I find it, I'll let you know.
Okay. So, in reading this, you be the attorney,
Okay.
I'll be the answerer.
Okay. My
All right.
glasses.
So here we go. Appearance. This is again her preliminary hearing. For the plaintiff, Dan Patterson, defendant Michael Stanfield, witnesses Jim Stanley. So that is one of the people that were on scene, right?
Yeah. Stan Hancock, the detective.
Mm-hmm. And then Michael Costello. I can't remember who that is.
I don't know who that is.
And here are the exhibits. I don't have them, of course, but now we know what a lot of these exhibits. Oh shit! I pushed the button. Are. So I mean, look at that.
Yeah, I've never seen this.
Yeah, I showed it a while back, but people weren't really into the documents yet. I feel like, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So
this is interesting, guys, because from the perspective of this is the preliminary hearing of what possibly would have been shown.
Yeah, this
also
was
at her trial.
he was building his case.
Right. So at this point, Patterson is like going for her. You know.
Yeah.
He's not for plea deal at this point. He's like, you know what, we're gonna go for her. So yeah.
This is, I think, what, about 5-6 days on July 24, 2015. They were arrested on
June 16th, around then.
Mm-hmm. So just
So a couple
imagine
weeks.
if he kept going.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, I'll just read this real quick. The court, today's date is July 24, 2015. This is the Circuit Court of Greene County, Missouri, Associate Division 26. The court calls the case of State of Missouri versus Gypsy R. Blanchard, Greene County case number. Defendant, damn it, I need a mouse because I keep having to use the little keypad. Defendant appears in person with her attorney, Michael Stanfield, and Clayton Baker. The state appears by prosecuting attorney Dan Patterson and assistant prosecuting attorney James Whiteside. We are present here for a preliminary hearing on this date. Are there any pre-hearing matters that we need to discuss? You want to read Mr. Patterson?
Yes, Your Honor, I filed a motion to amend the felony complaint, and as set out in the motion, it simply corrects the spelling of the defendant's name and the victim's name.
The court has reviewed that motion previous to this hearing. Any object? Oh,
so when she says the court, that's the judge talking,
right? Can you read that? Okay, let me see if I can make it bigger.
Yeah, I can read it. I got my glasses on.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Any objections, Mr. Stanfield?
Yes, Your Honor, the style of that, this is the defense attorney, of the case that the court just read does not match the style of the case listed at the top of the felony complaint. I think the felony complaint needs to be amended to comport with the style of the case that the court just read.
Judge, in what manner do you believe it does not comport?
Because Mr. Godejohn is also listed as a defendant and he is not present at this hearing. These cases are not joined. My client is having her case heard separately from Mr. Godejohn, and it's improper for him to either be listed as a defendant or not be present during this hearing.
Okay, but they had already, I don't know. Because they did a motion for them to have, right? Severed the case. Is that his point?
I guess. Yeah.
He has a few times he objects during this.
Yeah. So let's see what Patterson says. So Mr. Patterson says, the court asked Mr. Patterson, the judge says, hey, Mr. Patterson, what do you say about that? And he says, neither of those things are accurate. See, he's not, Patterson is not happy. For example, if we were in the circuit court on a felony joint felony information, the cases were severed for trial. It would not be necessary to file an amended information anyway. You simply proceed on each defendant individually. When you draft jury instructions, they're drafted for the individual defendants, even if you try a case in a joint trial. There is no defect in the complaint. It also notes in different divisions. So all of this is basically, they're just arguing about legalese. It's not a big deal. It's just like Stanfield's just making a an objection that just has to do with legal stuff about how the case is being tried, and Patterson's saying, "Oh, you know what? That's bullshit." That's basically what Patterson's saying.
Stanfield's just trying to
just make a point. Just ruffle feathers, basically. You know.
All right, so let's see, who's Mr. Whiteside? Well, I guess they'll tell us. Okay, so they call in this Mr. Whiteside. They swear him in.
Right.
Oh, shit. I'm pushing buttons again. Hold on. So here's his direct examination. All right, you do the questions. I'll do the answers.
Okay. Sir, would you please introduce yourself to the court?
Yes, my name is Jim Stanley. Oh, I'm an idiot. Who's Mr. Whiteside?
He must be an attorney for, so can you go back up? It's one of the attorneys. It's obviously an attorney. It might be
Stanley.
it's direct examination, so it's going to be the prosecution, so it must be Patterson's helper.
Patterson. I can't, these fucking names. I need a flow chart. I need to make me some notes I can look at to keep them all straight. Swear.
Yeah. So when he says, Your Honor, the state calls Jim Stanley, the state is the prosecution. So Mr. Whiteside is probably the assistant to the district attorney or prosecuting attorney, Patterson. Okay. So the Mr. Whiteside, who's going against Gypsy, asks, Sir, would you please introduce yourself to the court?
Yes, my name is Jim Stanley.
Mr. Stanley, how are you employed?
I'm a supervisory sergeant for the Greene County Sheriff's Office.
Oh, okay. All right.
Close
and is your current assignment and your title supervisory sergeant? I think you just said that, yeah.
Yes, in the property crimes division.
Oh, how long have you been in that position?
I've been newly promoted to that position.
And when you say newly, how long ago was that?
Prior to that, a week, sorry. My bad.
Okay. Prior to that, and going back to specifically June of this year, what was your assignment at that time?
Detective sergeant for the Greene County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been employed by the Greene County Sheriff's Department?
Since March of 2001.
So almost 15 years.
Correct.
Prior to that, do you have any other law enforcement or first responder employment?
I do. I have both.
And what would that be?
Starting out in law enforcement in 1992 for the Rogersville Police Department. When I left that position, I was a lieutenant. I went to work for the Boulevard Police Department, where I served as a sergeant for 3 years. And while I had also started prior to law enforcement as a firefighter, EMT, and then became a certified paramedic.
And when you say EMT, that stands for?
Emergency medical technician.
So you have some medical training as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how much?
7 years.
Sir, I would like to direct your attention to June of this year, 2015. In the month of June, and specifically the date of June 14th, were you involved in the investigation that involved a Claudinia Blanchard?
I was.
And how did you become involved in that investigation?
Contacted to respond to the residents in reference to possible missing persons.
You say missing persons?
Correct.
Plural?
Correct.
And who were the alleged missing persons?
They had been Claudinia Blanchard and Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
You say you responded to the residents. What was the residence?
The residence was located at 2103 West Volunteer Way, Springfield.
The resident, okay, sorry, I'm just repeating what you said. That's here in Greene County.
Correct.
Upon your arrival at the residence, were you the first law enforcement on scene?
I was not.
When you arrived, what did you do in proceeding with the investigation?
Arrived on scene, met with patrol deputies, and then I placed crime scene tape around the residence.
Did anyone enter the residence?
No.
At that time?
No, sir.
Did anyone subsequently enter the residence?
Prior to law enforcement or my arrival?
I will state specifically law enforcement.
No.
So that's a point, right? Because right? Because we know David Blanchard went in, but he says, no, I will state specifically law enforcement, which is interesting. Your answer is no. I'm sorry.
Well, did anyone subsequently enter the residence specifically before law enforcement? The answer would be yes, right? Because
Did anyone subsequently enter? But okay, say it again. Did anyone subsequently enter the residence
prior to law enforcement's arrival.
or my arrival? And then he's asking him, "Do you mean law enforcement?" Prior to law
No. Oh,
enforcement.
I'm a
So
dirt
it's right. Actually, he's answering correctly
okay.
because
Gotcha.
it says, "I will state specifically law enforcement." David Blanchard
I'm
wasn't
getting
law
ahead of
enforcement.
myself
I
over
know
here.
it. I know it.
So your answer is no. Law enforcement did not enter.
At any time did they enter?
Yes.
And when was that?
We entered after we received a search warrant.
So I can't see that part on my screen. Okay. All right. And the search warrant was looking for
Missing persons.
the same 2 missing persons?
Yes, sir.
Were you involved in executing that search warrant and entering the residence?
I was.
Were there other officers involved in that as well?
There were.
Oh, just hold on just a minute. Thank you. So someone found that later. I
Did
guess
they?
the detective Voss thing, we can go to that later after.
Yeah,
Okay.
hold on to
Thank
that
you.
timestamp.
Yeah, thank you for that. All right, so where am I? I'm asking. Who were they?
Sergeant Dennis Rice, Corporal, give me 1 second here. I'm sorry. Corporal Brad Wallace.
And upon your entry, did you complete walkthrough of the house?
Yes. I will say initially when we did make entry, it was myself and Sergeant Stager. I don't know how you say that. We were the first two and only first two to enter.
Okay, did the 2 of you do a walkthrough of the house? Yeah.
We did.
Okay, and was at some point were there photographs taken?
There were.
Okay. That's not a question, but okay, go down so I can see. If I may approach, Your Honor, the court, you may, and both counsel for both parties have continuing permission to approach the witness in this hearing. Mr. Whiteside, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Stanfield, thank you, Judge. Question by Mr. Whiteside. Sir, I'm going to show you what's been marked as States Exhibit 1 through 10. Would you please look those over?
Yes, sir.
Do those photographs look familiar to you?
They do.
Can you briefly and very generally describe what those are?
They are photographs of the crime scene located at 2103 West Volunteer Way.
And do those photos fairly and accurately depict that scene as you observed it on the 14th of June, 2015?
They do.
Your Honor, at this time, I would ask for the admission of States Exhibit 1 through 10. Stanfield, no objection, Your Honor. The court, State Exhibits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 will be admitted into evidence. Mr. Whiteside, permission to publish, Your Honor. The court says permission to do so. Then back to Mr. Whiteside, the prosecutor guy. He asks, sir, if I can direct your attention to the TV screen, I'll show you what's been marked as, oops, sorry, something fell over. Been marked and admitted as States Exhibit 1. Can you please describe that?
Yes, that's the overall of the exterior of the residence at 2103 West Volunteer Way. That will be the south side of the residence.
States Exhibit 2?
That will be the south side of the residence with numerics 2103. Numerics,
States Exhibit
whatever.
3?
That will be the entry from the front door looking down the long hallway to the north.
Facing the direction of this photograph, if we go to the right, where do we go?
We would go into the dining room area.
And off to the side, that looks like perhaps the side of a refrigerator. Is that correct?
Yes. If you go into the right, then go left, that will be the kitchen area.
Okay. And down the hallway, what would be on either side?
If you went down the hallway to the far right, down to the northeast corner, that would be Claudinia's bedroom. The far left bedroom would be Gypsy Rose's bedroom. Coming back this way to the first residence south on the west would be the bathroom. And then there's another kind of a storage room that's back south to the left here.
State Exhibit 4?
That will be the dining room area. If you walk in the front door, hang an immediate right, that's what you'd be looking at.
So from that previous picture, when we're looking down the hallway, if we went straight right, that's what we would see. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and then there's on the right side of the wall behind the large blue bag. Is that a table?
It is a table.
This is State's Exhibit 5.
Yes, that's a close-up of the table if you were looking to the south.
Are there any other items of particular interest on that table?
There is.
And if need be, if you'd please stand up and point to
Absolutely.
what you're going to speak to.
Item of interest would be the plastic tub with the blue gloves inside the tub.
This is State's Exhibit 6.
That would be the plastic tub with a close-up picture.
The box that is on top. And when you say the plastic gloves, are you talking about the blue?
Yes, I can point to them.
If you would, please.
Here are the blue disposable latex gloves here.
Okay, and on top of that?
That is an insect fogger box.
State Exhibit 7.
That would be a close-up view with a ruler scale in evidence number 111 of the blue disposable latex gloves.
And that fogger box has been removed. Is that correct?
It has.
Okay, and when you identify that as 111, you're doing it from the placard that has been placed on that.
That is correct, sir.
State Exhibit 8.
That would be the bathroom, the one and only bathroom located within the residence itself.
Can you please describe the flooring in the bathroom?
Yeah, the flooring is a tile flooring with a grout in between the tile. Isn't most tile flooring like that? But okay.
Exactly. Let me think about all the other different tile flooring. And the color?
Kind of tannish.
Off to the left there, it appears to be a clothes basket or laundry basket. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that was there at the time of your initial walkthrough. Is that correct?
Correct.
This is State's Exhibit 9.
That would be the bedroom located on the northeast portion of the residence. I later identified as Claudinia Blanchard's room.
Okay, when you first made entry into that room, were there lights on?
There was a light on in the clothes closet. There's a double set of doors. You could see a little bit of light illuminating through that. And then along the bed itself, the back of the backboard, there were some very small LED style lights that were illuminated. That just sends chills up my spine, I swear.
I know.
The dark, no wonder, well, I don't know what time that they got there and all that, but I don't know, dark ass bedroom, dead body with twinkle lights.
It's just, yeah, it's just.
And a crack of light through the.
Just a crack of light coming from a closet, right?
Why didn't David Blanchard see the twinkle lights? I don't know.
I've thought a lot about this, and again, you guys know I'm not into conspiracy theories. So I try to think logically, logically.
Maybe he came during the day.
Well, there's a thing called when your mind isn't looking for something, there's those puzzles where you where's Waldo? There's when you're not looking for something, your mind isn't going to go to dead body. You're just not, and I know she was covered up, and then I don't know. I just think, yeah, I don't believe any of conspiracies about David Blanchard.
I don't either. For the record, I do not.
Yeah, I just don't, guys.
When it comes to the murder, for me, it was, Nick did it.
Yes, because there's so many reasons why David Blanchard wasn't involved. Number one, there's no evidence. There's no text messages going on between him and Gypsy planning something, or, there's no indication that there's no evidence of any relationship.
There's no man in a yellow coat. That was funny.
Now, I know. Bobby Petrie. Bobby Petrie on scene. What are you talking about? Oh my God. Now, is it okay to speculate on that? Of course. Knock yourself out.
I mean, people still think Gypsy's baby is not real. So I
And
mean,
that's
everybody has
fine
their
too.
theories,
That's
and
good too,
yeah, everyone is inclined to believe whatever they want.
Yeah, and I support it, and I'm not here to judge it or anything. And I think that so much of what we've learned about this case has come from discussions of
Yeah.
speculating on things, right? So
Mhm.
speculating on things is totally fine, totally fine. I'm just telling you what I think.
Apple. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, it's kind of creepy, and you know, um, I don't know what happened with David Blanchard in that house. I think he just did a little walkthrough and just goes, "Ah, they're not here. They're not here. There's no movement in the house. No one's here." And you got to think that probably there was a little anxiousness going on, so a little adrenaline flowing, and he basically went in to see like this officer did. We're looking for missing persons. We're not thinking dead body.
Right.
We're
Right.
thinking, where are these people? They're missing. They're not presumed dead at this point, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, this is a mother, this, sickly looking mother and this disabled child. Why would you think murder? You wouldn't.
Right.
Okay.
Except for she wrote, "I slashed that fat pig."
Yeah.
Engraved her
No, I mean,
sweet
if you're David Blanche, oh well, yeah. Well,
But if
he
you're
knew
first,
that,
oh,
right?
David Blanchard, yeah. But
Yeah.
if you first go in there, yeah, you're not. Well, you're not supposed to touch anything to begin with when
No,
you're
you're
first
not.
processing a scene.
No, you're not,
Mm-mm.
yeah. Do I think that they're like weird? Yeah, I think they're kind of weird, David Blanchard
Mhm.
and his wife, they're kind of strange,
I think
but I don't
all of
think
them
they're
are.
why would he want her dead? David Blanchard. For what reason?
Right.
Oh, because they were running a drug ring? They were selling.
I don't believe that either. This drug ring nonsense.
There's no evidence of that. Again,
No.
if you give me one bit of evidence of any of that, then you can get me to go, to start thinking about it. But it's like, okay, well, where's the evidence? Give me a text message. Give me
Yeah.
anything.
So, yeah, I don't think Dan had anything to do with it either. I think Gypsy was just obsessed with him.
Yeah, Dan Glidewell, from all accounts of the people that were in Dan Glidewell's life,
Justice
so his
Junction.
friends and stuff, they said he wasn't into her.
Yeah. They were weirded out and called Dee Dee to come get her.
Exactly. They're the ones that called Dee Dee that night that Gypsy showed up at the hospital. Now, was he into her for yeah, but as
Mhm.
far as was he into her like, I want a relationship with you? By all accounts, and this is from witness statements of people that were his friends and relatives back then, they're like, no, he didn't like her like that. He wasn't into her like that.
I'm sure once he got a toothbrush video, he was like, "No, I'm
He's like,
good."
huh, so freaky. Okay. But marriage material, nah, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, girlfriend material, no. Being weird with, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Anyways, but you're all
All
you're all
right.
welcome to speculate on all that stuff. Again,
Mhm.
I'm not putting anyone down that
Mm-mm.
thinks about that stuff and that believes that stuff. I totally am not judging on any of that. It's just we all have our own opinions.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Where were we? All right. The twinkle lights.
Yeah, so
All right.
weird. Just yeah, it's a freaky
I
scene and
know.
it's a macabre scene.
Mhm.
Okay, okay, so question. Show you what's been marked as States Exhibit 10.
That is an overall of the bed located in the bedroom on the northeast portion of the residence, Claudinia's bedroom, with the lights illuminated on the back of the headboard.
And although it may be difficult to see from afar, is
Oh
there
shit, I
some
pushed the button. Sorry.
Oh, you're
Go
you're
ahead.
good. And although it may be difficult to see from oh, and although it may be difficult to see from afar, is there someone in that bed?
Yes,
And was that person identified?
she was.
And who was that?
Claudinia Blanchard.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as States Exhibit 45, 46, 47, and 48. Would you please review those photographs, please? Recognize these?
I do.
Can you very briefly, very generally describe what
Mhm.
these are? Sorry, you guys.
Those are photographs of Claudinia Blanchard laying in her bed.
And do those pictures fairly and accurately depict what you found on the date of June 14th, 2015?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, I'd ask for the admission of states 45, 46, 47, and 48. And the judge says, Mr. Stanfield and Mr. Stanfield, no objection for the purposes of this hearing, Your Honor. And the judge puts those into evidence, and then the prosecutor asks, "Sir, I'm going to show you what's been admitted as States Exhibit 45. Can you I can't say that word. Generally describe that picture to the court?"
Yes, that is a picture of Claudinia Blanchard laying face down on her stomach, head slightly to the right.
And there appears to be all this color here. Could you determine what that was?
Yes, we determined that was blood.
Hey, I'll be back in like 2 seconds, okay? 2
Yes.
seconds.
Okay, you're fine. All right, so they're about to go into the blood. I wish I could pull up the crime scene photos as they did this, but you know, I don't know. All right, what's everybody doing in the chat? You behaving yourselves down there on your best behavior? We're educating today. Oh, I just remembered. It's a Monday. So Gypsy will be going live with Bree. I forgot. I better set my alarm. Can't miss it. We need to have a watch party somewhere. You're trying, Apple. Better behave yourself. You're so excited, Haiti. I'm interested to see what this is like.
Okay, I'm back. I had to get my Starbucks. I have to have it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm opening it.
Bree's going to the... Where did that go? Bree's going to be holding a roll. Oh my God, that would be weird.
What?
I forgot that it's Monday and Bree and Gypsy are going live.
Oh my God. Ugh. Okay.
How much of a bet she's a no-show? All right, let's go.
Where are we at?
Yes, we determined that was blood.
Now, it appears to be black in color, not red like normally people would think of blood.
Correct.
And so how do you know if it's black, how do you know that's blood?
It had already gone through the drying process, so it changes color.
I'm going to show you what's marked as states and admitted as States Exhibit 46. Again, can you generally describe that?
Yes, it's a photograph from a different angle of Claudinia laying face down slightly to the right, and this would be a picture of blood to the right side of her chest on the back.
Her arms. Can you describe the position of her arms?
Yes, her arms were actually kind of up underneath her like this, and then he demonstrates.
Was there something underneath her?
No.
Show you what's marked and admitted as States Exhibit 47.
This is a picture of her back with the nightgown lifted up of numerous stab wounds.
And you say stab wounds. Are you speaking to these splotches?
I am.
Okay. Did you by any chance count how many you found?
Initially, we estimated approximately 12. However, at the autopsy, they were able to get a more detailed, accurate number.
I'm going to show you what's been marked and admitted as States Exhibit 48.
This is a close-up of the back of Claudinia's head, basically the back of the neck, the base of her neck, and that was a deep cutting mark.
Were you able to determine how deep that cut went?
They were able to determine at the autopsy how deep the cut was. For us, it was very obvious by our observations at the crime scene that it was very significant cutting.
When you found Claudinia in the bed, did you check for vital signs?
I did.
Were you able to find any vital signs?
I was not.
No respiration?
No.
No pulse?
No, sir.
Anything else about her body that was indicative to her condition?
Her body appeared to be stiff at the time that I checked for a pulse.
So the overall condition of her person?
She was deceased.
I'm going to show you what has been marked as States Exhibit 21, 22, and 23. Please look at those photos. Do you recognize those?
I do.
Can you very briefly, very generally describe what these are?
That is an envelope that contained a knife and bloody gloves.
Okay. And you had personally observed these prior. Did you take these photographs? I'm sorry.
I did.
You did. And do those photographs, do they fairly and accurately represent these items as you observed them?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I would ask for the admission of State 21, 22, and 23. The judge says, ask Mr. Stanfield if he has objection. He doesn't. Then the judge puts those into evidence, and the prosecutor continues. Show you what's been marked and admitted as State's exhibits. State Exhibit 21. Would you describe that to the court, please?
Yes, that's an envelope with that I was requested to photograph and open to photograph the knife or the contents inside the envelope itself.
And when you received this envelope, had it been opened?
No,
Or was it still closed?
it was still closed.
So this was a sealed envelope when you started processing it.
Correct.
With regard to the address, please state that.
That is the send to address for Nicholas Godejohn, probably South Cherry Street, Big Bend, Wisconsin, 53103.
And based on your knowledge of the investigation, is that the same address where a search warrant in Wisconsin was served?
Yes.
With regard to the return address?
That would have been the Blanchard residence at 2103 West Volunteer Way, Springfield, Missouri, 65803.
Gypsy, incriminating herself.
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't know. The whole mailing thing is weird in itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think she was setting him up. That's my opinion.
I think she was hedging her bets, possibly.
I think she thought she was going to get away somehow, some way. She was going to get away with this scot-free.
It's weird mailing it. There's
bury it, like throw it out the window of the Greyhound, something other than mailing it.
Just weird.
To set him up. That's what I think.
I know there's just really no other explanation, right? Unless you're just super dense and super, I don't know.
Well, she said so they could sink it in a river. Well, you had 2 days to get rid of it before y'all even left.
I mean, I would want to get rid of it like right away, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you be like,
yes.
Let's get rid of this?
Yes.
I'd be like, number one priority, we got to get rid of this. Okay.
Could have put it in the hotel dumpster, something.
Anything. Yeah. I mean, they were walking around. They went to the Greyhound. They went back. They went to the restaurant. There was so many places, right?
Yep.
Just go back of the restaurant to a big dumpster and
she's got reasons behind it.
Very odd. It's like part of me is always like, is Gypsy stupid or is she smart? You know what I mean? It's like, it's both sometimes.
When it comes to being devious, or what's a better word? Conniving. She's very smart when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And didn't
she always says she's a very good planner. Yes.
Planner, right?
Uh-huh.
So that she's telling on herself. So she's a planner, right?
Yep.
I'm a planner at some points, but then some points I'm kind of fly by. I'm both, but she says she's a planner, so.
Yeah, that was in videos to Nick.
Right.
And she was saying it in a sinister way.
A very sinister way, that they were going to do all these things together and that she can get away with things,
But let her plan it all.
Yeah.
She wants to plan it all and then say, oops.
Yeah, so you would have to think that there was a reason for mailing that, and obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the whole thing, and then we'll get back to this. The other thing that always boggles my mind is the bus, because she's a planner, that she didn't buy a bus ticket, right? And people like to use that for saying, well, see, she wasn't going to go with him. I actually think, I mean, that you could speculate on that. I also think that possibly she thought maybe they weren't going to pull it off. Like she was going to not end up being able to leave. I think part of her was like, is he going to really be able to do this? Are we really going to be able to do this? What do you think
Uh-huh.
about her not buying a bus ticket? Do you think she was never going to go with him? Or do you think,
Well, now you just made me think, but about the other, what you just said,
because she
because she
was really
didn't think he
pumping him
could
up,
do it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she really believed her mother was not all powerful, but a
Mhm.
person to be reckoned with. And I think she was thinking, oh
I
my
don't
God, are we
know.
going to really be able to do this? Is he
Yeah.
really going to do it?
I've always thought that she didn't intend to go with him, but
Yeah.
now you have me wondering about that. That could be it.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I would think she kept she made sure he had everything he needed, a bus ticket, all of that, everything was in order. Why would she not make sure that she had a ticket?
Uh,
It's weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know her mind. I don't
Yeah.
know how certain she was that this thing was really going to be pulled off.
Mhm.
Of course she planned it and she wanted it to be pulled off, but it really wasn't. If you think about, if you're a control freak, she really had to give up that control to him at that point, right? She wasn't in
Right.
control of that part of it. So
Mhm.
she had to rely on him to do that part of it. I know everybody thinks that a lot of people think that she jumped on her mother and stabbed. I don't
No,
think
I
she
don't think
did.
so. I definitely think her, knuckles look bruised in
Yeah,
those
that's true.
pictures.
That is suspicious.
I don't know
What?
why, but they definitely look bruised.
Yeah, that's
I don't know why they're bruised,
suspicious.
though.
That
Mhm.
that's another one of those things where sometimes some of these things, as Mitch says, he
And do
goes,
you
"So-"
go ahead, go ahead.
I was going to say what Mitch says about like cases like this is in the ones that he's worked on, is that what he got used to is these kind of situations would drive him crazy, like, oh my God. And then after he worked, as a detective for a while, he said, some things you're just never going to know.
Yeah, because a
You're
part
just
of me
never going to.
wonders, like, did she also have this fairy tale in her mind that Dan would rescue her from the evil Nicholas?
Yeah. I don't, yeah, I don't,
But,
oh,
he probably
yeah.
was like, "Hell no, that
And,
ain't happening."
and here's why I think that, why I'm pretty positive that she was not the one to stab her mother to death. Okay. When he describes, the stabbing, and he describes that one where it goes deep into the lungs, right?
Yeah.
And when I read the autopsy, and if you guys want to go back later, you can go see my video on it when I described the whole autopsy. Um, that stab wound severs her aorta, goes into her
Yes,
mitral valve. It's the
mhm,
kill shot. That
yeah,
he's describing what can only, how would he know that? You know what I mean? What I'm saying is, from working in the ER and stuff, we would take care of a lot of stab wounds and stuff like that. And to understand when I'm hearing him describe that, I'm like,
he
oh my
knows he
gosh.
hit something.
Yeah. It was hard to pull out. And
Mhm,
that is when he went all the way past her lung into her heart and stopped
yeah,
her heart. And that's why when her heart stopped, and we don't know, was that like the first stab wound? Was that the fourth stab wound? Was that the 10th? I don't know that. I can't know that. But different clues to it is that a lot of people speculate about, well, there's not like a ton of blood everywhere. There's not like all this blood all over
yeah,
her and all over that. Well, once you stop the heart, you stop the
mhm,
beating of the heart, there's nothing to pump the blood out.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
like, when you hit an artery, like if you're severing someone's neck or whatever, and if you hit like a major vein or artery, that pumping is like that. I don't mean to get gross, but the spurting, doot, doot, doot. It's
ah,
the heart that's spurting it out, right? It's the
you
beat,
think
beat,
maybe he
beat,
cut
beat.
her neck after the heart was stopped?
Oh, definitely,
And that would explain why there wouldn't be
definitely. There's
ugh,
no heart to pump the blood out.
right,
And there was actually almost a fourth of her total blood volume found
mhm,
inside of her cavity, inside of her.
yeah,
So
pulled up.
it pulled up inside of her, a fourth
Mhm.
of her blood volume.
Yeah.
So when people say, "Where's all the blood?" It's like, "What's inside of her?" You know? Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So anyways, I just thought I'd add that because um, just like we were talking last night, that I don't like. Do I know that I'm specifically correct about all this? No, I'm just giving you based on my professional,
What you think? Yeah.
yeah, what I think,
Your
and
opinion.
my opinion based on when I read the autopsy, and
Mhm.
I was a cardiac nurse, so that was my specialty besides psych. My other specialty was cardiac ICU. So
Mhm.
I know about the
And there
heart. I know
was
what happened.
also, but there was a lot of blood on the bed too. So I don't know why
There
people
was.
say that there wasn't enough.
I don't know. I think they're thinking like
A
I think they're
gruesome,
thinking like when
brutal
that
scene.
the spurting on the
Yeah.
walls. Well, that's from when you hit an artery. Well, once he hit her heart, there was nothing to spurt anything out anywhere. It wasn't going to
Mhm.
happen. Plus, there's those little tiny stab wounds. They're little tiny hesitation wounds. They're not going to spurt blood, even if her heart was
Blood
beating.
spatter in the kitchen and hallway. Yeah, but was that
Yeah,
from the Nick or what?
I think it's from when he came out. I think there was obviously there was blood. Like you
Well,
said,
and
there's
she cleaned
blood.
stuff up too. Mhm.
Yeah.
And people are also talking about this piece of carpet that was cut out. I don't know what that's about. I never noticed it before until
Huh?
now.
I didn't hear that.
It's in
Say it
the
again?
crime scene photos. There's a crime scene photo where it looks like a patch of carpet was taken. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, but
Huh.
for some reason, people keep bringing it up. There's an influx of what I feel like are new
New
people.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
good though. Spread the
Oh, yeah.
word. All right, where were
Okay.
we?
Um,
The knife. We're talking about the
Mailing the
knife.
knife. Okay, question. And that's the residence of all the photos that we've previously looked at. Is that correct?
Correct.
Show you what's marked and admitted as State Exhibit 22, and specifically the post date that is on the envelope.
The post date is June 11th, 2015.
Now, you say this envelope was sealed when you started processing it. Did you open it?
I did.
And what were the contents of that envelope?
It was another smaller envelope that had the end open, and within that envelope was a red and black knife with a plastic sheath covering it, and appeared to be a pair of blue latex disposable gloves.
Show you it's been marked as States and admitted as States Exhibit 23. Is that the contents of that envelope?
It is.
So you say that's a pair of gloves there.
It's at least one glove, possibly two. I did not pull those gloves apart, leaving that for the lab.
Okay, and it's a little bit hard to get some perspective from the gloves, but about how long is that knife, your estimate?
My estimate of the knife would be 11 inches.
Wow. That's, yeah, I know
Mhm.
how long it was. I looked it up online yesterday from Walmart. You can't buy it
Yeah.
there anymore, but yeah. Now,
I've seen fillet knives at Walmart, not the exact same one, but
Mhm. Yeah, you can see it like online, but it's like it says out of stock,
mhm,
but that's a big knife. That 11 inches, think it's a
mhm.
ruler, that's that's a big knife.
And it's a
Um,
fillet knife, which,
ooh, it's a
is
boning knife too, is what it says. So it's really,
mm,
yeah, fillet boning knife.
mhm.
That's she picked a good one, I
Yeah,
guess.
she did.
She knows her knives.
Yeah.
Now there's this. Have you heard this about the two knives theory?
Yeah, and that comes up somewhere in
Does it?
here.
Okay, okay, we'll
Yeah.
keep going then. Okay.
We've got this guy to go through, and then there's another guy. I think there's 3. So
Okay.
it's within one of their testimonies, just can't remember which one.
So are there two knives?
I don't remember how they asked the question, because I remember after, like, that was a big thing for me after I read all these documents. It was like, why are they saying there's 2 knives?
So they
You'll see.
are.
They talk about some photos of Gypsy, and it's
Oh,
allegedly, if I remember right, we'll find out in a minute, her holding that particular knife. But
really?
I think
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. So we'll
Huh.
see.
Okay, because I looked it up online and I could be wrong, and I don't know if this is right or not, but people were like saying, "Oh, it comes in a pack," and I'm like, "Oh, it
Yeah, I've
doesn't."
never seen one in a pack.
No, it's not. So then it's like
But
okay,
you
well,
know what we don't know? How far ahead she stole that knife.
yeah.
Like, how
No,
long
we
did
don't know.
she have it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And I'm going to ask the question. Okay,
Okay,
and that is again with the chiffon, the knife. Is that correct?
correct, end to end.
The handle of the knife, is that a hard handle, like a wood type handle, a metal type handle?
No, it's a soft handle, kind of like a rubber handle.
No more questions, Your Honor. I'm thinking it's Your Honor. I can't see.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. The judge says cross-examination, and Stanfield
Mr.
says yes,
Mike
just a few questions.
Stanfield
Here
has
comes Mike.
entered the
Here comes Big
building.
Mike. Big Mike. I'm going to be Big Mike now. All right. Big Mike asks, now, prior to going into the house with the search warrant, did you attempt to look through any of the windows of the house?
I did not. You could not see in the windows.
Okay, and that is because, and I'm going to show you what is marked as number 5. The windows had some type of covering over all of them.
Yes, that window does have that type of covering.
Did you find similar coverings on the other windows?
Some of the windows had sheets and different items over them.
But you were not able to see into the house through any of the windows.
No, I didn't try personally.
But to your knowledge, nobody was able to see through any of the windows?
To my knowledge, no.
Now, there was a box of blue rubber gloves shown in Exhibit 7 and 6, I believe. Yes. Did you find other items of medical equipment in the house? Medications, things like that?
Yes.
You see where he's going. So
Mhm.
these were not necessarily out of place given the amount of
I
medical
don't know if
equipment.
he's going for Munchausen so much as like I don't know. I guess we'll find out
We'll
here.
see.
I
We'll
need to
see.
refresh my
Yeah,
memory.
because this is only a couple weeks after, so we'll see.
Exactly.
Yeah. So these were not necessarily out of place given the amount of medical equipment you found in the home.
Not necessarily.
Were you able to establish those handwriting? Whose handwriting was on the envelope?
No. My job was only to open the envelope and photograph the knife.
On Exhibit 21, does it appear that volunteer is spelled incorrectly?
It does.
Shouldn't laugh.
She probably had either she misspelled it or she probably said, "No, you write it."
Yeah, you know what? Maybe you
Yeah.
should write it because I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever, Gypsy. All right, where are we? And that is the street that Gypsy Blanchard had been living on for numerous years.
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Oh, okay.
See?
The judge says redirect. No.
So basically his main point in even bringing up medical stuff was to say, well, it's normal to have those gloves in there when you have medical
Right.
issues.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I see what he was trying to say. And then the
Yeah.
envelope, he's trying to cover her ass on the envelope. Like she didn't
Yes.
write it. We don't know who wrote it.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what's gonna happen now? You're free to go. Okay, bye. That guy leaves. All
Okay.
right. And the witness says, thank you, bye. And then the judge says, state may call its next witness. And now we've got Big Dog Patterson, right? And Patterson says, it appears someone in the gallery is posting on social media, but I don't believe they're posting any photographs. Uh-oh. Little scuttlebutt in the courtroom.
Yeah.
And the judge says, if you can expand it larger, I'd ask all media representatives to please approach the bench to the side. All right. So there's some scuttlebutt going on.
He's mad. He wants the social media posts to
Yes.
stop.
He's like, stop it. It's my
Uh-huh.
courtroom. All right. I've been informed there may have been social media posts. Okay. So this is about the
Yeah,
news and
he
media.
just tells
It's
them
not
to
really about the hearing.
Yeah, it's like cut your shit, quit posting.
Yeah. Don't do that, you guys. Okay.
Yeah. The
All right.
record will reflect that.
Okay.
Yes, Judge.
So
State ready to proceed. Yes, sir.
okay.
May call your next witness.
Okay. Yes, sir. Call your next witness. State calls Detective Stanley Hancock. All right. Here we go. So he's going to take the stand. And Mr. Patterson asks, so this is the detective that interrogated Gypsy for everyone. And Mr. Patterson asks him, will you state your name for the record?
I'm sorry, can't fucking read. Stan Hancock,
How are you employed?
Greene County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you worked for the Greene County Sheriff's Office?
15 years.
And what's your current assignment?
CID Detective Division.
What does Criminal Investigations Division? Does that mean Criminal Investigations Division?
It does.
And how long have you done that?
2 years now.
In June of 2015, specifically the 14th of June, did you become assigned to work on the investigation involving Claudinia Blanchard and her daughter being missing?
Yes.
And ultimately the homicide?
Yes.
And what was your ultimate role in that investigation?
The lead investigator.
As part of the investigation, did you have an occasion to go out to 2103 West Volunteer Way?
Yes.
And it's my understanding that the residence was searched pursuant to the search warrant?
It was.
Were you in the residence during the execution of that search warrant?
No.
When did you go in the residence?
After the search was completed.
And did someone show you around the residence?
Yes.
Who was that?
Detective Jim Stanley.
And was that after Detective Stanley and others had finished processing the residence?
That is correct.
Is it fair to say that you are familiar with the house?
Yes.
And how is it laid out? And how it's laid out?
Yes.
And what the rooms look like?
Yes.
Was Gypsy Blanchard found at the house?
No.
Was Claudinia Blanchard found there?
She was.
And what was her condition?
She was deceased.
Okay, can't see. Did the sheriff's department continue to search for Gypsy?
Yes.
Were you able to locate her?
Yes, we were.
How were you able to locate her?
Through some Facebook information, it led us to Wisconsin, Big Bend, Wisconsin, to a residence there.
Whose residence was that?
Nicholas Godejohn's residence.
As part of the investigation, did the authorities in Waukesha County, Wisconsin assist you?
They did.
And did they apply for and receive a search warrant to search Nicholas Godejohn's house on Cherry Street?
They did.
And that's in Big Bend, correct?
That is correct.
If you would take a moment, I'm going to hand you what's been marked for identification as states exhibits 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Would you take a moment and just flip through and look at each of those to yourself?
Okay.
Okay, move up. You need to move it up.
I think
Do you recognize what? Sorry, yeah. Do you recognize what's depicted in that series of exhibits?
Yes.
And just very generally, what do these exhibits display?
Shows the residence in Big Bend on Cherry Street. Shows a bedroom and some items that were collected. It shows the all over inside of the house.
And when you say items that were collected, you mean as part of the execution of the search warrant?
That is correct.
And do these pictures, aside from the fact that they're printed on regular paper and the color maybe not perfect, do these fairly accurately depict that house and the contents of it?
Yes.
I'd move to admit states exhibits 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And Mr. Stanfield says, no objection, Your Honor. And the judge says, court will admit, blah, 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 blah. And then Patterson asks this question. So here in States Exhibit 11, what are we looking at?
We're looking at the front entrance and front of the residence on Cherry Street in Big Bend, Wisconsin.
And as I look at the single car garage over there to the left on the right side, looks like there's some, is that where the house address is?
That would be correct. The numerics are right there.
Now looking at States Exhibit 12, and are those numbers we were just talking about for the house address?
They are.
Looking at States 13, what are we looking at here?
That would be the kitchen and dining room to the house in Big Bend on Cherry Street.
All right, before we move to the next picture, I want to draw your attention, the court's attention, to what appears like a sweatshirt or something over the back of a chair here. Now, looking at State Exhibit 14, is that the same chair?
Yes, it is.
What is it that's in the seat of that chair?
There's a black billfold and a flip cell phone.
And State's Exhibit 15, is that the wallet and cell phone you just described?
It is.
Okay, move it up a little bit. And are you familiar with the appearance of Nicholas Godejohn?
Yes.
If I zoom in on State's 15, whose picture is it that's on what appears to be a Wisconsin identification in the wallet?
That would be Nicholas Godejohn.
Was the phone collected as part of the evidence collected from the Wisconsin address?
Yes.
Did it remain in Wisconsin?
No.
What happened with the evidence that was collected in at the Wisconsin address?
It was collected by the Wisconsin Sheriff's Office and packaged and brought back here to Missouri and logged into the Greene County Property Sheriff's Office room.
And were you present during the execution of this search warrant in Wisconsin?
I was.
And did you transport the evidence back?
I did.
Once you got back to Greene County with the evidence, what did you do with it?
We logged it into the Greene County Sheriff's Office property room.
Can you just briefly describe what it means to log it into the sheriff's office property?
To label it and repackage it properly, just put it into the evidence lockers and secure it.
As part of the search, was there a search of Nicholas Godejohn's bedroom?
Yes, there was.
During the course of the investigation, did you become aware of how Gypsy and Nicholas got from Springfield to Wisconsin?
Yes.
Mike Stanfield interjects, "Judge, I'm going to object on hearsay." And the judge says, "Mr. Patterson," and the prosecutor says, to explain this later action, to his later actions. And the judge says, "For that limited purpose, I will overrule the objection." Question or answer. So your turn. Yes.
Okay.
So
Yes,
be the
I'm
dancer.
familiar with yes, I'm familiar with how they got from traveled.
And how was that generally?
It was on a Greyhound bus.
And was that part of the investigation? Was surveillance video from the bus station here in Springfield obtained?
Yes,
And have you had an opportunity to view that?
I have.
And when you view that, do you recognize Gypsy Blanchard in the surveillance video?
I do.
And have you had a chance to have you had a chance to have contact with her personally?
Yes,
Do you see her in the courtroom today?
I do.
Would you point her out and describe what she's wearing?
Over to my left, a black and white uniform,
I'm thinking it's red wig and a
looking like a possum.
Mr.
That little
Patterson says,
thing.
let the record reflect identification of the possum. All right. The judge says record will so reflect. All right, back to Mr. Patterson. On their surveillance videos at the Greyhound bus station, does she have any items of luggage with her?
Yes.
Can you briefly describe them?
It's a pink suitcase with a handle that rolls on wheels and a black colored backpack style bag.
And did you find these items consistent with that luggage in Nicholas Godejohn's bedroom in Big Bend, Wisconsin?
I did.
And were those items seized?
Yes, they were.
Show you what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 16. I'm going to ask if you would step down, please, and stand to the right of the monitor there. The black backpack, where was it located?
Right here. This is Nicholas's bedroom upstairs, and the black Faithbook bag is sitting right there.
And what about the pink roller bag you described? Can you see it at all on this photograph, State's Exhibit 16?
Yes, it's right behind the chair here, right, just right there.
Okay, not okay. You can go ahead and retake your seat. Now, looking at State's Exhibit 17, is that chair that you were just pointing out, just there to the right in this frame, and the pink bag there in the center?
Yes, that is to the right.
And
right
I think
there.
I can see, and I think I can see a roller wheel for the roller bag down there at the bottom.
Yes, this bag right here is the one that was the one that was collected.
Now, with regard to the Facebook backpack, I can't see the next page.
There you go.
Contents of the backpack searched pursuant to the search warrant.
They were.
Show you State's Exhibit 18. What are we looking at here, just in general?
This is the items that were found in the black Faithbook bag, which is up in the top of the screen right here.
I'm going to zoom in on this item right here. What is that black rectangular item?
That is a black and color LG touch screen phone.
And just for the record, it's sitting next to a box of complete allergy medicine. Is that right?
That is correct.
And just below the phone what is that item there?
That is black duct tape.
And then down here in the lower right-hand corner, looks like perhaps there's some items of identification of some kind.
That is correct.
Now, looking at States 19, is that a close-up of that area where the items of identification are?
It is.
Above them, what is this here?
That is a bag of money with, quote, nest egg savings on it in a plastic Ziploc bag.
Now, looking at States Exhibit 20, is that a further close-up of those items of identification?
Yes, it is.
Is there a Social Security card there?
There is.
What is the name on the Social Security card?
Gypsy Rose. I can't really make out the middle, but the last name is Blanchard with an E.
And on the Missouri MC card below, what's the name?
Gypsy R. Blanchard.
I think you told me earlier that when you were in Big Bend, you had contact with the defendant.
I did.
Where was it you contacted her?
The Waukesha County Sheriff's Office.
And did you make observations about her appearance?
I did.
And did you document in particular the fingernail polish she had on?
I did.
I'm going to show you States Exhibit 24. Do you recognize what's depicted in that picture?
I do.
What is it in general?
It's the hands of Gypsy, not facing outwards like this, but there's some pink.
Does that fairly and accurately depict the color of the fingernail polish the defendant had on that day?
It is.
And what day was that you contacted her?
That would have been on late evening of the 14th into the early morning of the 15th.
Of June.
Of June.
2015.
Yes.
I move to admit State Exhibit 24. The judge, any objection? Stanfield says no, Your Honor, and the judge admits it into evidence. And Mr. Patterson says, now, looking at State's Exhibit 24, can you see the pink fingernail polish we were discussing?
Yes.
I'm now going to show you what's been marked for identification as States Exhibit 25, 26, 27. Take a moment and flip through those 3 photographs. And then Big Mike asked, did you already show those to me, Dan? And Mr. Patterson says, yes, they were in the stack. And Mike says, okay, just making sure. And Patterson says, do you recognize what's depicted in those?
Yes.
Photographs. And I'm also going to show you State's Exhibit, what's been marked as State's Exhibit 53 for identification, which is an item of physical evidence. Do you recognize what is packaged there?
Yes.
What is that?
That is an LG flip phone touchscreen, and it's the one in the picture that we found in the bag.
Now you said flip phone and touchscreen.
I'm sorry, touchscreen. I apologize.
Like a smartphone, like we think of.
Yeah.
And is it substantially the same condition when you saw it seized in Wisconsin and then repackaged it here in Greene County?
Yes.
And State Exhibit 25, 26, and 27, do they fairly and accurately depict the packaging of the phone itself as well?
They do.
I'd move to admit States Exhibit 24, 25, 26, and 53. Stanfield, Your Honor, I would object. As to the physical phone, I believe the detective testified that Wisconsin deputies are the ones who actually collected the evidence in this case. There's been no testimony that he was present or had anything to do with the collection. So therefore, there's a breach in that chain of custody. And the judge,
just throwing
Mr.
shit
Patterson,
at the wall.
Yeah. It's a unique item. He testified he was there during the execution of the search warrant, and he's just identified it in a photograph where it was. The judge says the objection will be overruled. Oh, poor Mike. That's too bad, Mike. States Exhibit 25, so the judge admits it. Mike loses that objection, and Patterson says, now I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification as States Exhibit 39, 40, and 41. Do you recognize in general what's depicted in those photographs?
Yes.
What is it? What is it that's depicted there?
A Kyocera flip phone.
The Kyocera flip phone that you previously testified was seized from the chair in the dining room,
Yes.
kitchen area, and State's Exhibit 54. What is that?
That is the Kyocera flip phone package.
Is that in the packaging that you repackaged it in after you transported it from Wisconsin back to Greene County?
That is correct.
And is it in substantially the same condition, the packaging, as it was when you seized it?
Yes.
I'd move to admit State's Exhibit 39, 40, 41, and 54. The judge asked Mike Stanfield, and he says, same objection, Your Honor. If he didn't physically collect it, he can't testify that that's the exact phone and that's in the photograph. And the judge says, is your argument the same, Mr. Patterson? And he says, yep, it is. And the judge says, nope, it's overruled. Sorry, gonna admit all those things into evidence.
Swing and a
And
miss.
sorry, Mike. And just so that we're all clear from the flip or the smartphone, the LG phone was taken from the black bag in the bedroom.
That is correct.
That had Gypsy's identification.
That is correct.
And the Kyocera flip phone was taken from the top of Nicholas Godejohn's wallet in the kitchen area.
That is correct.
During the search in Wisconsin, was an item of mail seized as well.
It was.
And where had that item of mail been mailed from?
Springfield, Missouri, off of Volunteer Way.
And where had it been mailed to?
Big Bend, Wisconsin, on Cherry Street.
During the investigation, did you become aware of what the contents of the piece of mail
Yes.
was in general? What was it? What was in it?
A knife.
And at that point, did you have Detective Jim Stanley photograph that night?
Yes.
Now, when he photographed it, how was it? Can you describe?
It was in another envelope with a blue glove inside of it.
And was the blade bare?
No, it had a sheath on it, black in color sheath.
And has that knife been given to the Highway Patrol lab to process?
It has.
At some point, did you go back to the lab to take a picture of the knife without the sheath on it?
I did.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 23, 23A for identification. Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is it?
It's the knife that was in the packaging.
With the sheath removed now.
That is with the sheath removed, yes.
And is this a photo that you took we were just talking about?
That is correct.
And does it fairly and accurately the knife with the sheath removed?
It does.
I move to admit I may have not shown you this. I can't remember. Who's Mr. Baker? We saw it. Mr. Patterson, State's Exhibit 23A. That might be Stanfield's helper. I don't know. The judge, Mr. Stanfield, no objection, Your Honor. Okay, then the court says admits it into evidence. And then Patterson, sir, just quickly here, if we look at State's Exhibit 39, that's the packaging for the flip phone we were talking about.
That is correct.
And 40, is that the flip phone from the kitchen area on the top of Godejohn's wallet?
That is correct.
And 41, a picture of the flip phone, flipped open?
Yes.
25, what is that a picture of?
That's the outside packaging when I packaged it up of the LG.
And I notice it says Hancock S. That's you?
That is correct. That is my DSM 154.
26, what is that?
That's the LG phone that was found in the black Facebook bag. Okay, so he's the Kyocera, she's the LG phone.
Okay. The bag that also had identification for the defendant.
That is correct.
And then the State's Exhibit 23A.
That is the knife that I took photos of.
And I think you can tell this is a little bit in the picture with the scabbard on it because it's got some holes in it, but it appears to me that it has a serrated blade across the top. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You mentioned Facebook. Did the sheriff's office obtain some business records from Facebook?
They did.
And was there an account that appears to have been used by the defendant?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd ask that you take judicial notice of the fact that on the 14th of July, the state filed a notice of intent to rely on business records, including the Facebook records. And on that date, the records of the business record affidavit were personally served upon the defense. The judge says, Mr. Stanfield, any objection? And Mike says, not to the fact that the business blah, blah, blah. But we do have objections to what's contained in the records. And the judge says the court will take judicial notice of the notice of intent to utilize business records, blah, 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 blah. And then Patterson says, and you've reviewed the records and you reviewed the records that are in State's Exhibit 44, correct?
That is correct.
And they're just a portion of all the Facebook records. Is that correct?
Yes.
Within these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of records, are there postings of photographs?
Yes, there is.
And Mike Stanfield says, Judge, I'm going to object to testifying to what's contained in the records as hearsay. I bet you are. And because that's the
He
Facebook
didn't want
stuff.
that.
Mhm. And Patterson says, I'm laying the foundation for the relevance. And the judge says, I'm going to overrule the objection at this time and allow a limited examination for the purpose of foundation only. And Mr. Patterson says, thank you. So he's going to be able to proceed a little bit. Judge give him a little bit of wiggle room here. And so Patterson says, and within these pages of Exhibit 44, are there 2 photographs in particular attached?
There is.
Do you recognize the persons who's depicted in these photographs?
I do.
Who is it? And then Stanfield says, same objection, Your Honor. And then the judge says, Mr. Patterson, at this time, how is the witness not testifying to the contents of evidence which have not been admitted? And Patterson says, well, I have to lay the foundation that they're relevant. For them to be relevant, there has to be a connection to the defendant, and we don't have a jury here. And then Mike Stanfield says, well, Your Honor, whoever is depicted in that photograph, I don't see how that necessarily ties to the defendant at all. Anybody can post a photograph of anybody on the internet.
So Gypsy didn't post it. It could be anybody. Sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah. How can you prove that she did it?
Right.
Posted it. And Patterson says, I will tie it up in more than one way. And the judge says the objection at this time will be overruled. And just for a note for the chat. So usually in a preliminary hearing like this, the judge will side with the prosecution more than the defense. And that's because the burden of proof is with the prosecution. So usually the judge will give the prosecution more leeway than they do the defense at this point, just for, FYI. Okay. So, Mr. Patterson, with regard to one of those postings, the second of which, are there comments to the posting?
There is.
And just brief, are you familiar with Facebook?
Yes.
And so if I post a picture, when I say there's a comment, what does that mean just in general? In general terms.
Mr. Stanfield.
And then Mike says, Judge, I'm going to object. Mike is really pissed off here. Look, I'm going to object. I don't know what he's
No Facebook.
We don't want Facebook, Judge. Stop it, Judge. Make it stop.
Yeah,
and Patterson says, I think we all know. I don't know what that the court does, but I think most people know how Facebook works, Mike. We're not talking about computer science here, Mike. That's so funny. We're talking about in general how comments are associated with photographs, Mike. And Mike says, Mr. Baker has no idea how it works. What? We don't know how it works, Judge.
So his partner, his little buddy, has no idea.
He doesn't
how
understand, and we're gonna have to get Zuckerberg in here to explain it to us, Judge. Where's Zuckerberg? Okay. And the judge says, look, you idiots. I'll allow the witness to testify as to his knowledge of how Facebook works, and I'll allow you, Mr. Stanfield or Mr. Baker, to cross-examine his knowledge of that medium. Oh, so funny.
And so now they have to, prove that this guy knows what Facebook is. So here we go.
I know, it's so funny. This is so like, really? Are we really going to have to go there?
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, no, answer. So you're in the answer.
Oh,
right?
Basically you make your own account. And once you get that account, you accept or decline friends. And it's a way to communicate, post pictures and communicate, and just communication through Facebook.
In the second of these 2 pictures on page 123 of the business records, and I'm using the page number in the top right-hand corner, a picture of the defendant. Is there a comment by Nicholas Godejohn? And here goes Mike.
Mr. Stanfield.
I am going to object. Judge, strenuously object. How do we know that comment is from Nicholas? Go to John. And Patterson is like, I have to lay the foundation, you freaking idiot. You have to be able to draw logical inferences. It's fucking Facebook. Stop it, Mike. I can't lay the foundation. And the judge says that objection will be sustained. Oh, the judge gave it to Mike. Oh,
Yep.
Ooh, Mike makes one. Okay. Judge is saying, all right, well, got to give Mike something. He's getting really upset. His blood pressure is elevated. We don't want him to stroke out. All right. So then
Mike did not want this comment that Nicholas made
No,
to be admitted.
he did not.
Mm-mm.
Nope. And the judge says, all right, sustained it for now, So Patterson says, are there also comments in a posting by the owner of the account with regard to travel?
Yes.
Same objection, Your Honor. Jesus, Mike. And then Dan Patterson says, I didn't ask the specifics. I only asked if there makes it relevant. Oh, Mike's like, all right, okay. And then the judge says, is it a question as to the content of the subject matter of the posting? Therefore, the objection is sustained.
Damn.
And Patterson says, are you familiar with aliases used by the defendant?
Yes.
Is one of them Ruby? And Mike's like, Judge, I'm going to freaking object. No, not the Ruby name. Not that name.
Not Ruby.
Not Ruby. We can't do the Ruby thing. And the judge is like, what foundation has been laid as to that, Mr. Patterson? And Mr. Patterson says, throughout the course of the investigation, have you received records of the defendant that indicate she goes by the name Ruby?
Yes.
When you look at those records, are there items in it that lead you to believe that these records are connected to the defendant? And here we go again. Stanfield, judge, I'm going to object. How is that even relevant to whether he believes they're connected to her? Well, Mike is really freaking. The issue is that
he
blah,
does
blah,
not
blah,
want that
blah,
stuff
blah, blah,
admitted.
blah, blah, blah.
He's
Mike
trying to
goes
get that
off.
stuff thrown out.
Yeah, of course he is. And it's being a good attorney, trying to get it, I can't get upset with him for that, but it's funny. Well, the judge says, well, at this point, there's been no testimony that anybody can make an account for anybody else on Facebook. That's a statement of yours, not evidence at this time. At the same time, though, Mr. Patterson, I'll hear from you as to the objection. So Dan says it goes to the weight of the evidence, not to the admissibility. The business records are admissible. They've been authenticated as business records of Facebook. And the judge says business records are admissible under the business records affidavit. I can't see him. That does not preclude them from being objected to on other grounds. They're not been offered at this time. And then Patterson says, I would offer States Exhibit 44 as business records of Facebook, subject to me showing the court that they are relevant based on their content. And the judge asks Mike, what do you think? And he says, same objection. And then Patterson says, they are apparently records of Facebook. However, Mr. Patterson's, this is Stanfield talking. Same objection. Mr. Patterson, they are apparently records of Facebook. However, Mr. Patterson's intention is to use what's in them as statements of my client. However, he's laid no foundation to prove that anything that was written in there, in fact, was written by my client or statements of any other people. There's statements, not only from one person, but from multiple people in there. Wow.
What is that?
So I'm thinking that, are they talking about a post that there's like multiple people commenting? Is that what he's talking about?
Well, he's saying that you can't prove that it's been written by my client.
Right. But then he says there's multiple people posting, right?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
He wants to review the exhibit.
Yeah.
And as you
Hold
do
on,
that,
sorry. Yes, sir. And as you do that, I'll let you know that there are other exhibits I intend to introduce, which will also, when you look at the totality of the evidence, will show you why this is relevant. And Mike says, and I will just say, Your Honor, I'm unaware of the totality exception to the hearsay rule. And the judge says, State Exhibit 44 will be admitted into evidence. Okay. And Mike says, Does that mean that any hearsay objection going forward will be overruled, Your Honor? And the court says no. And then Mike says, Okay, so it's just admitted for the purposes of the business record, but not for the statements contained therein. So what happened here is they admitted the business records from Facebook, saying these are from Facebook. Facebook has authenticated them as being from Facebook, but the statements made, the posts there, have not been authenticated because you don't have anyone to say who made those posts, right? You got names next to, did Ruby say this? Did Nick say that, right?
Right. But if this were to go to trial, he'd probably, they would.
Well, he'd get her on the stand, I mean,
Exactly.
there's way to authenticate it, there's different ways. Yeah. Okay. So, at what point are you offering at this point? Blah, 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 blah. Yes, sir. Any additional objections you wish to make then? And Stanfield says, if I could have a moment to look at it again, Your Honor. And Patterson says, may I approach while they're reviewing? May I approach? Do you have some exhibits and photographs? Do you still need those? And then Stanfield, I still lodge the same objection. This is akin to phone calls, emails, things of that nature. And simply because something comes from a particular phone number, email address does not say anything to the person who actually authored it. So, yeah, that's what they're saying. And that's what it's being offered for. The truth of is that that was, in fact, authored by my client. And Mr. Patterson has not put forward any evidence that there's any way to prove that, if it can be proven at all. And so, therefore, it is not only hearsay, but he can't even lay the foundation that it's my client who's making the statement. And also, he's also offering statements of people who he's not even claiming are my client that we can't identify specifically either. So there's
It
different
is a
people.
comment section.
I'm wondering if this is that they talked about Ruby, right?
Right. Was she in the? I don't know.
At first, I was thinking, is this like the bitch is dead comments? But no, that wasn't made by Ruby.
No, that was made by the Gypsy Blanchard.
Right. So this is interesting because he's really freaking out about whatever this is, and we know it has to do with Ruby.
I think so.
Well, yeah, Ruby's the name, but they've spoken of. Is this Ruby? Okay. So Patterson says, in the logical inference of the content of this document, which is properly authenticated, so it's a Facebook document. When you look at the photographs and the postings attributed to a person with a very similar name to the defendant, and very similar looking photos of the defendant, lead one to the logical conclusion that these are postings made by her. It goes to the weight of the evidence, not its admissibility. When you consider a piece of evidence, you have to determine whether it's relevant in its totality and whether it's authenticatable. And when you look at the photographs and the postings, the logical inference is that these postings are made by the defendant. And then so that's Patterson's argument. And then the judge says court determines that the evidence is relevant and as a whole will be admitted into evidence as State's Exhibit 44, and the court will give it the weight which it is to be accorded. And Patterson then asks, with regard to Facebook, are you familiar with it means to be a friend on Facebook? What it means to be a friend on Facebook?
Yes.
Can you just describe that really generally?
You get a hit or save on the computer, your cell phone, or whatever electronic device from that person saying that they want to be your friend, and you can confirm or delete it or deny it.
Show you page 32 on the top right-hand corner of the record. Who does it show in the yellow highlighting to be a Facebook friend?
Who does it show?
Who does it show? Sorry.
Nicholas Godejohn.
And I started to ask this question to you earlier, but is there a posting dealing with being packed and readying oneself for a trip?
Yes.
If we look at that posting, would you read the date and the content of the posting? It's back out here a little bit.
It's dated 5/22 of 2015, and it states that, quote, "I'm pretty much packed, clothes, personal information, papers, trinkets. Yep, I'm all ready."
Is that a gypsy?
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds like her. Yeah. Okay. And then
I
there's like a
think, am I wrong?
no,
Maybe
I'm
I'm
thinking it is her. I'm just because it's either him or her. I'm just saying.
we're looking at the posting. Hold on. Now I'm confused. And I started to ask the question earlier.
Oh wait, no wait. Nicholas, go to John, and I started to ask a question about
No,
the.
that's Gypsy. Nicholas
It's
would
got to
never
be
say.
Gypsy. Gypsy doesn't say trinkets. I mean,
That's
Nick
what I was
doesn't say
about to
trinkets.
say. Nick would never say trinket.
And then there's a less than sign and a couple loops. Do you know what that is?
I do.
What is that?
That's basically a heart. It's a
Like you make if you don't have a fancy cell phone, you make like an emoticon out of a
correct. Correct.
less than sign something else.
Correct. Oh, less than sign and a 3 sign. And if you turn it up, it will be the shape of a heart.
And you said there were photos posted in these records that are the defendant.
That is correct.
Looking at the yellow there, does that show that one of those photos was posted on May 22nd of 2015?
May 22nd. Yes.
That's on page 29 of the record. And then on page 161 of the record, is that the photograph of the defendant that was posted on that day?
It is.
And then is there a later photo posted on May 27th?
Yes.
I'm looking at page 123 of the records. Is that the photo that was posted on May 27th?
It is.
And is that one with comments?
Yes, it has comments on it.
Comments from Nicholas Godejohn?
That is correct.
Responded to by the user Nicholas Bella Rose?
That is correct.
Referring to herself as Ruby.
Yes.
And again, we see that emoticon with the less than sign and the 2 loops.
Yes, we do.
Did the sheriff's office also obtain business records of the yellow cab company in Springfield?
Yes.
Again, Your Honor, these records were provided by notice of intent 10 days in advance to the of the hearing to the defense, and I'd move to admit them pursuant to the business record rule. And again, if I didn't say so, it's Exhibit 43. And the judge says, Mr. Stanfield, any objection? And Stanfield says no objection. And the court then allows it to be in evidence. Okay. Yeah, there's no objection.
Yeah.
All right. And then Patterson. As part of those yellow cab records, do they have the log of a cab driver, Sherry M., starting in the evening of June 9th and ending in the early morning hours of June 10th?
Yes.
And is there a trip on the early morning of June 10th to 2103 West Volunteer?
Yeah, there is. Yes.
And where was that from?
That was from the business records that the cab company keeps.
Now, showing you what's page 1 of the records that are being introduced in States Exhibit 43, we see at the top where it says Yellow Cab Mobile Radio Log, correct?
That is correct.
And then down at the bottom, highlighted in yellow, what is the time of the trip from Days Inn to 2103 West Volunteer?
1:57 in the morning on the 10th.
And arriving at
2:06 a.m. on the 10th of June.
So this is him going there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, this is him going there.
So he
Right.
leaves the hotel at 1:57.
Right.
He gets there at 2:06.
2:06
But
on
you
the
know
10th
what's
of
weird?
June.
Like NPG put out these messages between him and his mom, and it has like timestamps on them.
Yeah, I
So
saw
like
that.
I think he texts Gypsy at 2:06 and tells her he's there, and then texts his mother back at like 2:13 and
Yeah.
telling her, I'm fine. Like what? He
Yeah.
was able to even text her. And talk
Yeah,
about a mother's intuition.
oh, she totally had mother's intuition. I totally believe that because
And she
I get it.
literally texted
Yeah,
him during what
she knew.
happened.
I mean, she didn't
Yeah.
know, but she was like, something's not right. That
Yeah.
feeling you get, something isn't right
Something's
here. I
wrong.
don't know
Yeah.
what it is, but something isn't right. And of course, he had never really gone away from home, so there was that aspect also. But
Hmm.
that she had been trying to get a hold of Gypsy earlier that night, that evening. I know that also. And then it just culminated, at that exact
Yeah.
time,
How could
the
he
same
go in
time.
and do all of that in like less than 10 minutes and text? I don't know. It's
Right.
crazy
It is. It is. It's
because they had to clean up his finger and all that. I thought they
so
had
do we
sex.
do we know,
Did they
we
have
don't
sex right after or not? Because he
well,
was
do we know
texting
that
his
he gets
mama.
there and immediately they're doing it? Do you know what I'm saying? Does
That's
he
what,
get there?
yeah. When did he actually kill her? We don't know if
We
it was
don't know
right.
that. We don't know. We know when
Well,
he
he
got
tells her
there.
to get your ass in the bathroom.
Right. But was there before that statement, does he come in and there's like conversation? Is
I
there,
know.
oh
Does
my
she
God,
go
are we going to do
outside?
this? Are we not going to do that? Who knows, right? I mean, we don't know.
Mm-mm.
They're just giving us the blow by blow of what was important. But
Yeah.
as far as the timing of it, we know what time he gets there and we know what time they leave. Now, what of the timing of when she was, uh, murdered, we have no way of knowing that. We know
Keish
it's in that
said,
time frame, huh?
Keish said she met him in the shed. I wouldn't be
Oh
surprised.
God.
I still wonder about that back door because that one that goes into the
Yeah.
kitchen?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What, it was open or what is it again that freaks you out?
Well, I swear that I remember when this first came out, like I don't know if it was on 2020, what it was back then. And I can't find it, so I can't prove it. But I
I don't know.
swear back then that the story was that he went through the side door. He came in through the side door.
Oh, really? So you mean when
Yeah.
he
And
got
then
there,
in the crime scene photos, that back door,
it's
remember in the kitchen, I'm like, why is
it's
all that
open,
shit
right? Yeah.
pushed like that? And then that back door is like cracked open. So to me, it looks like somebody came in that side door. Now,
It's
do I think it
interesting,
was
huh?
Dan or
Oh
whoever?
no.
No, I do not. No,
Bobby
I
Petrie
don't.
in
Yeah,
the yellow
no
raincoat.
Bobby Petrie, no. But I don't know.
Bobby
No
Petrie, my
David
favorite.
Blanchard. Bobby Petrie in the yellow coat with the knife.
The monkey on his back.
Yeah,
Okay.
Colonel Mustard.
I know. It's crazy, right? It's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Okay. Where are we at? Okay, so June
Your
10th.
question.
Okay, question. With regard to the LG cell phone, the smartphone that was seized in the defendant's bag in Nicholas Godejohn's bedroom, did the sheriff's office have that examined by a cell phone examiner?
A Carolina girl said, it's in the Greene County casebook that the detectives entered through the side door."
Okay.
Okay.
Good
That
to
makes
know.
sense. That makes
I think I
sense.
said that before, but yeah, I think I didn't
Why
know that,
wouldn't
but I think I thought, yeah, the cops probably came through there.
but why wouldn't
Uh,
they go through the front door?
well, they
Well,
probably did that too.
okay, I see, I see.
Yeah.
But wouldn't they have taken pictures? I don't know. Whatever. Too many
You know
questions.
what? There's doing an investigation that is perfect. And in reality, like in everything in life, nothing's perfect, and
Mhm.
you're talking about a small department. This isn't a big sheriff's department, so they did
Yeah.
the best they could, but was everything perfect? No, of course not, but did they do things not exactly right? Well, some of it, but was it crazy? Did they do a terrible job? No, they
No.
did a pretty good job. So,
Mhm.
but they're not perfect, you know what I mean?
You're
And,
right.
they're not used, it's not a super large sheriff's department, so
Yeah.
okay. And once
Okay. Where
where
were
am I
we?
at? Question, and once it was back
Wait, I didn't answer it. What
oh,
was
okay.
it? Did the sheriff's office have okay. The Waukesha County Sheriff's Office did, yes.
And once it was back here, though, did you have someone look at the actual contents of the phone pursuant to a search warrant?
Yes.
And are you aware that there were photographs of the residents at 2103 West Volunteer found on the phone,
Yes.
as well as a video?
Yes.
And have you seen those things?
Yes.
And when you look at them, are they a fair and accurate depiction of Claudinia's bedroom there at
Mhm.
2103?
Okay, so this is about to go on. This is another thing like people need to remember and realize. Gypsy was not only filming that video of her making the jabbing motion over the bed, she was also taking photos of her mom in the bed, I believe.
Right. I think you're
And
right.
I think that's in the new FOIA stuff they talk about
Yeah,
her taking photos of.
I think you're right.
It's fucking weird.
Creepy.
Mhm. Okay, so depiction of Claudinia's bedroom. Yes.
And is there
Oh
also
wait.
a picture of the knife? Are you aware? Here's the knife part. Are you aware that there's a picture of the what seems to be the same knife as we've already looked at?
Yes.
And does that appear to be a fair and accurate depiction of the same knife that you took a picture of?
Stanfield.
Mr. Stanfield, here's Mike. Judge, I'm going to object. He's testifying as to the contents that have not been admitted into evidence. And the judge asked Patterson, and Patterson says, look, I'm laying the foundation. I'm going to introduce it through another witness. And Mike says, Your Honor, how can he show him the document and ask him if it's what it depicts, or he can enter through another witness? But he's asking him to testify openly in front of the court about what's in the document. And the judge is like, the objection has been sustained. And Mike's like jumping up and down, yeah. And then Patterson says, I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification as states exhibit 31, 32, and 33. Take a moment and look at those to yourself. Do you recognize what's in those exhibits 31, 32,
Yes.
33? In general, what does that appear to be pictures of?
The house on Volunteer Way and somebody holding a knife.
Oh my God. Now looking at states exhibit 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and 30A, B, and C, take a moment and flip through those. In general, what's depicted in those exhibits?
It's a bedroom and it's Claudinia's bedroom.
Does it fairly and accurately depict the bedroom of Claudinia at 2103 West Volunteer?
Yes.
And you've watched the video that's associated with the phone as well?
Yes.
And does it fairly and accurately depict the bedroom at 2103 West Volunteer Way?
It does.
This blows my mind. She
Yeah, so
took a
she was
picture
taking
with the
pictures
knife?
of. I don't know. I'm
Go
confused
back.
because
Go back. Go back.
she's.
I want to read it again.
I think she's also taking pictures of the bedroom as well. Because how many exhibits
Yeah,
are
she
there?
is. She is. But then there's this a knife. Like, in
Uh-huh.
general, what does it appear to be?
He's
Okay,
laying the
hold on.
foundation, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The house on Volunteer Way and somebody holding a knife.
Oh my God.
Is
Just
it
when you think
in
it couldn't get
in Dee
sicker.
Dee's bedroom?
What the fuck?
Take a moment and flip through those. Because then he asked, can you identify that is her bedroom? Claudinia's bedroom.
Right. You watched the video associated with yes, is it fairly accurate to depict the bedroom? Yes. Okay.
So he's
Are
laying
we
the
thinking
foundation for whatever would have came after this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. Yes.
So he could have gone deeper into what he's talking about in whatever the pre-trial or
Right.
the trial
He's laying the
itself.
foundation to get this into evidence, and then when they go to trial, it's like, okay, so now we're gonna show pictures of her with the knife, and we're gonna show this video of her,
In her mother's bedroom, apparently.
Wow. What's the point of that?
I don't know. That's what
That's weird.
It's the house on Volunteer Way and someone holding a knife. Could this be also her showing Nick, in a video?
Maybe. Here's the knife I bought.
And no, like the stabbing motion over the bed.
Oh.
Remember that video?
Oh, okay. Okay.
But there were also photos taken of the bedroom.
Right. Yeah, I've
I
never
don't
seen
know if
those.
that's the same video. That's just me like taking a guess
Right.
of what it could be.
Hold on, I gotta close this window.
Okay. And you've watched the video that's associated with the phone, yes. Is
Okay,
it
I'm back.
fairly inaccurate? See here, look. And you've watched the video that's associated with the phone as well, yes. Does it fairly accurately depict the bedroom at 2103 West Volunteer Way? Yes, it does. Oh, we
So
got a cross-examination on this
yeah, here
one.
we go. Okay, so Stanfield asks, just so we're clear about the evidence that you just testified about, the photographs and the video from the cell phone, you stated that the phone was collected by the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department
That is correct.
and they took it into their custody.
That is correct.
And they examined the phone prior to you coming into contact with it.
They looked at it, yes.
As far
Oh, wait.
Wait, I'm sorry. No, you say as far, and then I say into the
Yeah,
contents of the phone.
as far as I know, yes.
So prior to you getting the phone, somebody else went in and looked around in the phone.
So he's trying to.
Yeah, he's just trying to get thrown out as evidence.
Yeah.
He's trying to muddy the waters.
You don't
saying
know if
what-
somebody could have messed with the phone
Exactly. That's what he's
and
trying to do.
posted as.
Nice
I would
try.
I would assume so, yes.
Yeah. And do you know, is that person going to be here today?
I don't see him here in the courtroom today.
Now, you are still continuing to investigate this case.
That is correct.
And as a matter of fact, I learned from the news leader, that's the newspaper,
Uh-huh.
a little bit ago that you served another search warrant today.
That is correct.
And so there's still a lot of things about this case that you don't know.
Stuff that I haven't finished going through, that would be correct.
Okay, you're still searching for things?
That is correct.
Now, have the officers and yourself submitted your reports up to this point, though?
No, not yet.
You've not submitted any reports to the prosecutor on this case?
No, my personal reports, no.
Okay, what about other officers?
I don't know who all submitted reports, but I don't think there's been any that's been submitted as of yet.
Okay, well, you're the lead detective, correct?
That's correct.
And as the lead detective, you go through every report that's completed and submitted in a case.
That is correct.
Have they been submitted to you yet?
No.
Now, you testified a moment ago about exhibit number 16, and exhibit number 16 shows the backpack and the pilot case and the pink pilot case.
Okay.
And you testified that you saw on the video that Ms. Blanchard was carrying that through the bus station. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you found those same articles in Mr. Godejohn's bedroom.
That is correct.
How many days elapsed between the time of the video and the time that you opened the contents of that bag?
Do you have a calendar that I could look at so I could be accurate on it?
I actually don't. I have my phone turned off. Well, do you know the dates that it occurred on?
The dates of the video?
The video and then the search warrant or the execution of the search warrant.
There's video of the 11th and the 12th.
Okay.
And the 14th, they were taken into custody in Waukesha.
So at least a couple of days?
Correct.
And you're not aware of what was in the backpack when Gypsy Blanchard was going through the bus station?
Correct.
You have no idea who placed any of those items in the backpack?
Correct.
Or that those items that you found in the backpack were the same items the day that she was in the bus station?
Correct.
Now, the knife that's been testified about, have you determined where that knife is sold?
Yes.
Here we go. Where is it commonly sold?
Walmart.
And you actually obtained a large amount of video footage from the sporting goods section of Walmart. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You were searching to see if Ms. Blanchard appeared purchasing that knife.
Yes, I looked at the video, yes.
Okay, have you completed that?
No.
Okay, thus far, have you found Ms. Blanchard on the video?
I can't say that I have as of yet.
Why do you think she's going to be on there?
Just from a statement that was made.
Okay, so somebody told you that she did
That she did what?
that she went and purchased the knife?
Yes.
And that unknown person, they couldn't tell you the date or the time? This is Nick. Right?
Yeah, I
But he
think you're
didn't say
right.
she purchased it.
No, he
Maybe
stole
did.
it.
She stole it.
Or they asked him who purchased the knife. Well, I think he said she stole it.
No, I think he said at first, he's like, no, she stole it. I'm pretty sure he said she stole it.
Someone in here will know.
You guys, do you know offhand? I know Nick talked about her getting the knife during his interrogation. Oh, he thought she bought it? Okay. Maybe someone could go check really quick. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, that's interesting because I don't know why this is being so secretive in this hearing, but
I know.
yeah.
I
Okay,
feel like he's fishing for answers here. Like,
yeah, I feel like he doesn't.
Do they know?
Yeah,
Gypsy
he's looking for.
stole
Yeah,
the
like he
knife?
doesn't know. Like he doesn't know. You know.
Yeah, like he wants to know what they know. You see
Why
what
he
I'm
asked
saying?
about the reports at first? Where's the reports? Right? Because he doesn't know anything that they know at this point, right?
That's what I think.
Yeah. Okay. Of
Well,
course,
they're required to like provide the evidence that they have to the defense, right? They have to look at
okay,
that.
here in the chat, Phaedra, yes, the interrogation. He says, I don't know how she did it, but she got the knife, shoplifted it. Okay.
Maybe he
Okay.
misspoke. All right. Date or time.
Where am I at? Where are we
I
at?
think I was at, well, I know who said it, so.
Okay.
But no, they couldn't tell me the date or time.
But so far that hasn't panned out.
Not as of yet. There's still several videos.
Okay, how many of the 14 videos have you gotten through?
Objection.
Irrelevance, probable cause. And the judge says, how is this not going beyond the scope of a probable cause statement hearing? And Mike says, well, Your Honor, at this point, I don't know anything about the discovery. The limited amount of time that I've had between the 10,000 pages of Facebook records and the 14 videos, 10,000 pages of Facebook records.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Release the records.
Please. I clearly have not had enough time to watch, so I'm just trying to figure out where the detective is. And then the judge says the purpose of a preliminary hearing is not to ascertain at what point the investigation is, but solely to determine whether there's probable cause to believe that a crime has been committed and that the defendant committed it. The objection will be sustained. Okay, so Stanfield then says, have you had a chance to go through all of the Facebook records?
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Which ones have you gone through? And then Patterson's objecting again because it's not relevant. He doesn't want him to know. And then Stanfield says, I have a specific question, Your Honor, that may go to probable cause, so I need. And then the judge says, I'll let you ask your specific question. And then Mike says, okay. And so then Mike asks, as of yet, have you found any statements from Miss Blanchard asking Mr. Godejohn to come kill her mother?
Yes.
Specifically?
Not.
Miss Blanchard saying to Mr. Godejohn, come kill my mother.
Not in those exact words, no. Not in those exact words, no.
Not in those exact words.
Correct.
So you have found statements from Ms. Blanchard to Mr. Godejohn.
Object, hearsay.
I can't see. Okay, Patterson, I'm going to object. Stanfield, I would say that's good for the goose, is good for the gander at this point, Your Honor. I'm going to make statements like that. And then the judge says if the statement has been made, it would be an admission by the defendant, and therefore the objection is, and then Patterson, only if admitted by the state, and then the objection is overruled. So Stanfield says, so you're telling me you found a statement from Ms. Blanchard to Mr. Godejohn telling him to come kill her mother?
Not in those exact words, no.
Okay, what words did she use then?
I don't have that in front of me to refresh my memory, so
You're the lead detective in a homicide case. And then Dan Patterson says, Your Honor, I object, argumentative. And then the court says, sustain. And then Stanfield says, Are you the lead detective in this case?
yes.
And you can't recall this statement.
Not a particular statement at this point, no.
Even a statement that you believe is her admitting that she wants her mother killed.
I wouldn't want to do it with exactly quoting it.
Okay, Mr. Patterson didn't ask you about that, did he?
Not today, no.
Okay, well, whether she asked Mr. Godejohn to come kill her mother, isn't that the whole reason we're here today?
Yes.
And then Patterson's like, Your Honor, I object. Legal conclusion, speculation, hearsay. Didn't like that the detective answered that. And then the judge is like, sustain in all grounds. And then Stanfield says, Now, you've interviewed Gypsy Blanchard. Is that correct?
Yes.
During that interview, did she admit to you anything you remember? And then Patterson's, Your Honor, I object. Hearsay. And then the judge says, Mr. Stanfield. And Stanfield says, Your Honor, it's the statement of my client. And if she had confessed, I think we would be hearing about that. I'm simply asking him if that happened. And Dan says, Well, one, I object. I get to choose what evidence I put on. I get to choose what evidence I put on. Whether she confessed or not is irrelevant to what the evidence is. The law is that the statement of a defendant can only be introduced by the state. So what's going on here is that he's trying to get Patterson to show his hand. Did she confess? Did she not confess? And Patterson's like, I'm the only one that can introduce that part of the evidence, and he doesn't want to introduce it at this time. It cannot be introduced by the defendant as a self-serving statement unless first introduced by the state. So only he as the state can introduce that.
Right.
And then Mike Stanfield says it's only self-serving if she didn't confess, though, Your Honor. And then Dan says it's not an admission unless it's offered by the party opponent. The judge, objection will be sustained. No further questions. Stanfield says redirect examination. Patterson says just a couple questions that he's going to ask. Okay. The LG cell phone, when was it forensically examined?
Earlier this week, from what I can remember.
By whom?
By Officer Costello.
And he works for?
Springfield Police Department.
What was that pursuant to a search warrant?
It was.
When you say the Waukesha Police Department looked at the phone, what do you mean?
Before they packaged it up, they observed the phone and packaged it up.
Like they held it and looked at it?
Correct.
Not that they forensically evaluated it?
No.
All right. Patterson says nothing further. The judge says recross. And by Stanfield. So Stanfield's going to ask some more questions. Detective, other than looking at the outside of the phone, did they turn the phone on?
That I couldn't tell you.
You don't know?
No, that I couldn't tell you.
Did they look at the contents at all of the phone?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so you don't know what they did with the phone actually.
That they collected it and looked at it and packaged it. That's all I can tell you.
But it's possible they could have done those things.
I can't speak for them, but it could be possible.
Thank you. No questions, Your Honor. So he's done. Any additional questions? Patterson, nope. And Stanfield, nope. And court says, may this witness be excused? Yes, 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 yes. You're free to go.
Now we have Michael Costello to the stand.
Okay. All right. State your name for the record.
Michael Costello.
How are you employed?
I am the computer forensics examiner of the Springfield Police Department.
And what does it mean to be a computer forensic examiner?
I analyze digital evidence for criminal cases.
And does that include examination of all cell phones?
Cell phones, computers, hard drives, anything that stores binary data.
Can you briefly describe your training in that area?
Good Lord. My training began in 2008.
Blah,
Blah, blah, blah.
You can go through that.
Background. Yeah. He's got a good background.
Okay. Yeah, that's not relevant.
No. I always hate when they have to do that, but it's part of the process.
They have to. Yeah.
Mhm.
When you examine a cell phone, can you briefly describe what you do? So he's going to talk about how he looks at a cell phone. You could probably go past
Mhm.
that too, right? I mean,
Yeah, put it in airplane mode.
Yep.
I pull that out in whatever method the phone allows me to and store that into a file or
Okay.
series of files for analysis. Memory
right.
chip. Here, we may want to read
Can you
that.
describe a little bit some of the options of adding? Okay, it's more just talking about. We want to get to the evidence, right?
Right, but they're saying, okay, and do they also sometimes have a second or secondary memory chip?
Oh, okay. Yes. Can you describe that a little bit?
Some of them have the option of adding an external storage hard drive, blah, blah, blah. I'm just seeing
Okay.
if they're talking about the particular phones.
Right. Is a storage device, blah, blah, blah. How long have you been
Micro
doing this
SIM
work?
card.
There's more background here. I started doing it in 2010. So he's going on
Mhm.
about.
In 2006, he moved to Springfield. Okay, and here we go into the evidence.
Okay. All right, let's see. I'm going to show you what's been admitted as States Exhibit 53 and ask you if you can tell me what that is.
That is an LG L39C cell phone. So
Are
that
you?
is
Yeah. What?
Gypsy's cell phone,
Okay.
right? I'm
Yeah, I
pretty sure.
believe so. Yes. Are you familiar with that cell phone? Yes.
Yes.
Mm. Is it one I analyze? Oh, that's you. I'm sorry. How?
Oh, it is one I analyzed.
How do you know that?
It's cut with the evidence tape, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. Is it in the same condition? Yes. After you examined it, yes. And now I'm going to show you what's been introduced in evidence. So he's just laying the foundation for this is a
Mhm.
phone. You saw this phone. You know this phone. It was in evidence. Yes. There's another cell phone that I examined. That is my cut. Blah blah blah. Okay. This packaging. So I
They're
guess
probably
this is
being so precise about the packaging because
right.
Stanfield
They don't.
is
Yeah. They have to say, look, no, it's the chain of custody.
right, but
Basically, it's the chain of
Stanfield's trying to
custody.
argue that, oh, well, you don't know if somebody could have tampered with it.
Right. So they have to go through all of this. It's
Mhm.
boring stuff. It's like, here, I opened it, I saw it, here's my name, my initials on it, and all blah blah. All right. So this one says the question is, who is it associated with?
Gypsy Blanchard.
And how do you know that?
There were outbox messages that said, "Hey, it's Gypsy." So usually the phone attempted to send those messages. There were email addresses that were synced with that account, user accounts, and those email addresses were in the name of Gypsy Blanchard. And there were also images that were recovered off of the micro SD that were pictures taken of her using that phone.
And in the investigation you're here to testify about today, did you have an occasion to go out to 2103 West Volunteer Way?
Yes.
Did it have to do with the cell phones or something else?
It had to do with a computer.
When you were out there, did you go into the crime scene
Yes.
to seize that computer?
Yes.
And where was that computer located?
It was located next to the bed in the victim's bedroom.
And so you're familiar with what the victim's bedroom looks like?
Yes.
Were there photos recovered on this phone of the victim's bedroom?
Yes.
Was there a video recovered on this phone, the LG phone, of the victim's bedroom?
Yes.
With regard to these two phones, State Exhibit 54, the Kyocera flip phone, and State Exhibit 53, the LG smartphone, were there evidence of communication between these two phones?
Yes. And just Nick's over there with his Kyocera flip phone.
Right.
We've all seen it. And then
Right.
she's got an LG smartphone.
Right, because she's Gypsy and she gets shit,
Right, but
you
she
know?
was
She gets
so
shit. And poor Nick's got like this piece of shit, right?
she had
And
multiple
Gypsy's
cell
like, I
phones, I
got my
think.
cutting edge, you know?
Right.
Okay.
In 2015.
For 20, yeah, of course. Okay, I'm going to back up for a second. So you're telling me like when I think of texting, right? I get out my phone and I just text, but the LG phone was using something different than just regular texting.
Yes. Wait, where am I? Did I miss
The
something?
LG phone, you're going to answer the LG phone was
Oh,
using
where am
Yahoo
I?
Messenger.
Hold on.
I went down there, I guess. Maybe I went down too far. No, go back
Hold
up.
on,
Go
which
back
one?
up. So it says that there was
Communication between, is that,
yes, that's where there was communication between a Yahoo Messenger account.
okay, that's me, right?
Yes.
All right, there was communication between a Yahoo Messenger account using the Yahoo Messenger app on the LG phone through SMS to the Kyocera flip phone.
Okay, I'm going to back up for a second. So you're telling me, like, when I think of texting, right? I get my phone and I just text, but the LG phone was using something different than just regular texting,
The LG phone was using Yahoo Messenger. So
which is yeah,
where's the Yahoo Messenger stuff?
I know, right? Where is it?
I'd like to see.
Okay, so which is
An instant message chat program.
okay, it was communicating to the Kyocera phone through the Kyocera cell phone number. Oh, I'm sorry, that was your answer. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, so when you say SMS, that's like a regular text message
Text message, yes.
using the phone number.
Yes.
So when you look at the communication between the two phones, does it just come across? If they're not using a phone number on the LG, how does it come across and look from the Kyocera phone?
It comes across as a series of numbers. Yahoo has 5 numbers it uses as a prefix for those messages. So when they show up on the Kyocera, they have that 5-number prefix with some after. So she's not
And,
texting from a cell phone, and because she's, I guess, texting his cell phone using Yahoo Messenger, it shows up as a number.
it's saying that it comes up with it's not coming up like from a phone. It's just these like series of numbers. So I don't know. Yeah. It's just a series of numbers. And then the message, but it's not like, how like you get a text and you're like, oh, that's the area code and the phone number, right? It's not
Correct.
coming across like that. It's coming across like 5 numbers and okay. I don't know why. So and on the LG phone, was there as much history as there was on the Kyocera between those communications?
No.
Was there more on the Kyocera?
Yes.
And was there specifically communication between June 8th of 2015 and the early morning hours of June 10th?
Yes.
Okay. I can't see.
Sorry, I gotta
That's
scroll
okay.
down.
Sorry.
You're fine.
And
I gotta
did
get a
you
drink
do
of water.
something to document those communications?
Yes.
What did you do?
I took pictures of those messages.
And have those been put into a PowerPoint
Yes.
and loaded onto a DVD?
Yes.
First, would you take a look at State Exhibit 28? Do you recognize what's depicted in that?
Yes.
Is that one of the case photos that you took of the LG phone?
Yes.
And does it fairly and accurately depict that part of the phone, that phone?
Yes.
And does it show the micro SD card you were speaking of?
Yes.
And when you search these phones, did you do that pursuant to a search warrant?
Yes. They admitted the evidence, no
Right.
objection.
No objection.
Oh.
Are you still there?
Hold on, my internet.
Oh, no. That's okay.
Everything sounds like a robot. Hope we'll see what happens. Am I back?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you just sound like a robot to me. Do I sound like a robot?
No, you don't sound like a robot.
What the hell?
Do I still sound like a robot?
Yeah, to me.
That's weird.
Let me see what's going on here. Let me see. Hold
I'll be
on.
back in a second.
Let me just refresh my browser
Okay.
because my internet's fine. So,
Okay.
yeah, let me refresh.
I'm still here, guys, in chat. I'm actually gonna have to go probably like in 10 minutes. So, oh, I guess I'm the only one here. Can you guys hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You still sound like a robot.
I'm
You
sorry.
pop out and pop back in.
You want me to go back? You want me to leave and come back?
Yeah, try that.
Okay.
I think it's StreamYard. StreamYard's being an asshole. But it's not my internet, so that's good. That's good news. We've made it this far. We gotta hurry up and finish these, though. Before I have to go, we better finish them.
I'm back.
You still sound like a robot. Is she sound like a
I'm
robot
so
to
weird.
anyone else? Is
How
it
do I
just
sound to chat?
that is the
Mercy says we
weirdest?
both sound fine.
It has
I have to go like in 5 minutes anyways, though.
okay. It has to be StreamYard or something.
Yeah, probably is.
All
So
right.
if you want to tell me when you want me to come back, I'll come back. Just let me know. Still say
Okay.
robot to you? Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird.
All right.
Let me
Just so you
see.
guys know, today I'm doing the this afternoon I'm doing the audio for the new video. So that means we're almost done. So
Nice.
yeah. So I'm gonna be
Oh, you
working on
sound
that this
normal.
afternoon.
You
Do I
sound
sound
normal
good?
now.
Okay, all right. We can do a
Yes.
little bit more if you want. If they
Yeah,
want
because we're
us
about
to.
to get to the good. Let's
Okay,
see.
I can do a little bit more.
Okay, and then because I'll have to go too. I got to pick up my kids here in a
Okay.
little bit. Hopefully, we're on page 83 of 102. So
Oh, we're
maybe,
almost done. Okay.
yeah. Hopefully, we can finish it real quick. All
All
right.
right.
And so that little card, that's you.
And so that little card we see sticking out, that's the micro SD you're talking about?
Yes.
Now, these photographs in the video that were found on the micro SD card, were they saved normally? I'm not sure exactly how to ask the question. Saved normally, or was there something special about them?
They were deleted.
If they're deleted, how did we find them?
They are loaded in what is referred to as unallocated space. When you delete a picture or video off of a card like this, it doesn't actually erase the data that's there. It leaves it there and it just tells the operating system that in the future, if you need this space, you can use it. So anything that you delete by default will be there until it is overwritten by something else.
So if I understand correctly, so if I went to say my phone, right, and I have a picture on it, when I click on the icon, the computer and the phone knows to take me to that image.
Yes,
But if I delete that, that link will no longer work, but the image may still be there until it's overwritten by something new I put on my phone.
correct.
All right. First, I'm going to hand you a series of exhibits. State exhibit 31, 32, 33, 35, 36, 37, 38, and I ask you to flip through those and ask if you recognize them.
Yes, I do.
Are those the photographs that the images, I guess I should say, the images that you recovered from the allocated space on the micro SD card in the LG phone?
They were recovered from unallocated space. Yes.
I'm sorry, unallocated space. And are they in substantially the same condition? They depict what you saw that you recovered.
Yes. Yes.
And at this time, I'd move to admit state. So he's going to put those in evidence. And then Stanfield, may I voir dire the witness for a moment, Your Honor? So what he's asking here is he wants to ask see if he's an
Question him.
expert, I guess. Oh my God. Okay, here we
Okay.
go. All right. So the court says, yes, he's going to voir dire. All right. So this is Stanfield now. The photos are, here's Stanfield asking, the photos that are depicted there, is that exactly what her bedroom looked like when you went in there?
No.
All right. Your Honor, I object. The proper foundation has not been laid for these. There's a serious gap in the chain of custody for these. These are images that were supposedly recovered from the phone. Detective Hancock testified a moment ago that he is not the one who collected the phone, that the phone was in the possession of the Waukesha Sheriff's Department for an undetermined amount of time. The detective was not able to testify as to how it was kept. Where, so this is just, he's objecting to the chain of custody. He's saying, we don't
Mhm.
know how it was kept, where it was kept. It just,
Still going
more
on about
bullshit.
that.
It's more
Uh-huh.
bullshit. And the judge says, Mr. Patterson, what do you say in regard to the chain of custody? And Patterson says the phone is a unique item already admitted into evidence. It's not like drugs that are fungible, where you have to show a chain of custody from person to person to person to admit. There is no evidence whatsoever this phone has been tampered with in any way. Detective Hancock testified. Deputies looked at it, packaged it. He brought it back to here. He repackaged it. Any argument does not go to admissibility, but would simply go to weight. Stanfield says, Your Honor, yet again, I don't think the detective testified that they packaged it in front of him. He said, so this is
Lord.
again, he's trying super hard to keep this out of evidence.
Yep.
He's saying chain of custody, blah, blah, blah. Patterson's making the argument again. There's no evidence of any tampering. Stanfield comes back. I want to prove the evidence, blah, blah, blah. And the judge says the phone having been admitted previously into evidence.
Look what Stanfield said. I don't have to prove any evidence, Your Honor.
Oh,
He
God.
has to just
God, stop it.
goodness. Calm down, Mike.
Yeah.
Big Mike.
Big Mike. This is my girl Gypsy. I'm going to be on the Gypsy train for 10 years, Judge. Don't you know?
His job.
Right, exactly. Okay. Okay, so we're back to Patterson asking questions.
Mhm.
When you examined the phone, was there anything about it that indicated it had been tampered with?
No.
And you've reviewed the video image that was also recovered from the micro SD card.
Yes.
And that was placed on a disc.
Yes.
So I'm showing you States Exhibit 30. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And it's got a white label in addition to the red label, correct?
Yes.
And if you'd scoot that to the side so we can see, is that file number 00354 what's associated with the video on the phone?
That is the file name that the forensic software I used to card it gave it.
I see. And these blue squiggles here on the label are, what are those?
Those are my initials.
Okay. So you know that this is the disc that you viewed.
Yes.
And is the video as it was when you captured it?
Mr. Patterson.
Mr. Patterson, I'd moved to, Patterson said I moved to admit it to state's evidence. Stanfield, yes, Your Honor. And then Stanfield, same objection. And then the judge says objection is overruled. Okay, so Patterson's back asking questions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at State's Exhibit 31, 32 through 38, on the white label, it appears to be a file name. It's got the common extension JPG, JPG.
It's just him trying to argue like, oh, it's not her phone, pretty much.
Right. So, okay, all right, blah, blah,
right?
blah.
Isn't this my?
Yes, it's all just legalese. It's all legalese. I'm going to show you what's marked, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you can keep going. There's nothing exciting here. Okay, and then the white label, they're talking about the label on the phone and that the time in the video is still taken from, so like 5 seconds. I'd move to admit. So he's moving to admit it. Mr. Baker now, and in for Mike, pinch hitting for Mike, same objection. Same objection. Okay, any additional argument, Mr. Patterson? No, sir. And so
still
they admitted into evidence, and it looks like above tile floor with a okay, here we go. All right. Are we looking at
Now
pictures?
here's
No,
Mr. Patterson.
okay. Mr. Patterson. No, okay. Okay. We have States Exhibit 31. Is that the first photo that you recovered?
Yes.
And it looks like it's above a tile floor with a laundry basket in the upper left corner.
Yes.
State Exhibit 32, a different version, the knife being held a little differently. Here we go. The knife being held differently.
Yes. So
States
that's
Exhibit 33, does that appear to be the same knife? Just the blade?
yes.
States Exhibit 34, does that appear to be the same knife, just the blade? That's 33, same thing, yes. States Exhibit 34, what are we looking at here?
That is the victim's bedroom.
And this part that looks like the corner, is that the corner of the bed, like the footboard of the bed that I see there on the right side?
Yes.
And it looks like there's some kind of baggie with a white something in it on the corner of the bed there.
Yes.
I can't see. States Exhibit 35, what are we looking at here?
It's the victim's bedroom.
And the bed in particular?
Yes.
And if I zoom in there, what does this item here appear to be? This flag for, like a white keypad.
Some kind of phone or remote control.
States Exhibit 36, what's this here? What would be on our sort of the middle of the bed next to the footboard there?
It's the bag seen in the picture 2 before.
And this
Hey,
here,
what the fuck is
what
that?
is it? What are they talking about, this bag?
I don't
There's
know.
There's a kitty. Uh-oh, here comes the kitty.
I don't know what bag.
It's a bag on the
A
bed.
little white bed. Yeah.
That's weird. So she's taking pictures of this. This is pictures that are on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then she takes a picture of the
But
cat.
there's some sort of relevance.
Right, but I don't know. And what do we see?
Well, it says a cat and
And then there's the cat. Same box right beside it in the same position. Yes, baggy.
hold on. And this here, what's that? Some kind of box. Okay, State Exhibit 37. So we're on to a new one.
Okay. Now do we see all of the cat?
Yes.
Same box right beside it in the same position.
Yes.
Baggy with white substance. Baggy with white. I'm thinking drugs when I hear that, right? In the same position.
Are they just trying to lay the foundation that these pictures were taken within seconds of each other? You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, so that bag is still there and the cat is still there. Do you see what I'm saying? Because
yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I exactly see what you're saying. I'm thinking it's not that they're trying to make a point with these pictures. It's just like, here's what's on
right
the phone.
before that, it's asking about the pictures with the knife.
Right. And then it's like, here's what's also on here. There's the knife pictures. And then, because we're not looking at the pictures, we can't see the context of the pictures, but it looks like it's the bedroom. So like these were all taken in a row, I think this is what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like they're trying to say, look, the cat's here, the bag's in the same position.
The same position. So this is the same time frame of. Okay.
Okay, where were we?
Okay, so I'll go question. States Exhibit 38. Now we're looking at the floor at the foot of the bed. Is that correct?
Hold on, I don't think we're on the same page.
Okay.
Okay, now I see where you are. Yes.
And again, we can see that white baggie in the same position on the bed.
Yes.
And these photos show that they were made on May 22nd of 2015.
Correct.
When you examine the video, did it appear to have been made on the same day?
Yes.
What drew you to that conclusion?
Everything in the room is placed in exactly the same place.
Okay. All right. So if we look at the first deal, States Exhibit 30A at 5 seconds and 29 in, it's talking about the video. See the cat in the same position?
Yes.
And the white baggie?
Yes.
And the box?
Yes.
States Exhibit 30B, which is 11 seconds and 26. Do you see the white baggie?
Yes.
And the state's 30C. Do you see that phone in the same position?
I believe it's a remote control, but yes.
Remote control. Okay. At this time, Your Honor, I'd ask leave to play the video. That's been admitted. Leave will be granted. Okay. The video marked states that Mr. Pat. Now I'm going to show you what's been marked States Exhibit 55. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
Wait, where am I?
Right here. It's a CD or DVD with a PowerPoint, you say.
CD or okay. The screenshots. Okay, the CD or DVD of the PowerPoint.
Of the screenshots that you took of the Kyocera phone,
Yes.
and if I recall correct, which captured the text messages from Yahoo Messenger on the LG phone to the Kyocera phone from the time of June 8th, 2015 to the early morning hours of June 10th of 2015.
Yes.
State Exhibit, move to admit State Exhibit 55. Mr. Stanfield, same objection. Judge admits it into evidence. Patterson says it will take me just a second to load. So he's going to play the video now, right?
Mhm.
It's on disk. Takes a moment. Pause in proceedings. Patterson says, and just to review what you told us about Yahoo Messenger, if I recall correctly, it has this to this and then this phone number preset. It's not a phone number, it's just a series of numbers, prefix numbers that indicates this is going from the Kyocera phone to the LG phone that's using Yahoo Messenger.
Yes.
And so if this changes on our next slide to from in that number, that would indicate it's coming from the LG smartphone using Yahoo Messenger to the Kyocera phone.
Correct.
And the date and timestamps of the messages are at the top.
Yes.
And I think you told us when you examine a phone that you put it into the airplane mode.
Yes.
Your Honor, can you read the screen? And judge says yes. I will, and then Patterson says I will simply hit the space bar as I read each one. If you need me to stop, please. And the judge says, Mr. Stanfield, are your client able to review those also? Yep, are you able to see him, Your Honor? Stanfield says yes. May I sit while I do this? And I'm sure the judge says yes, you can sit. And then okay. On that one, too, that means that's from the Kyocera to the LG.
Yes.
And that number is from the LG to the Kyocera.
Yes.
Again, that's from the LG phone.
Yes.
And that's from the LG phone.
Yes.
And that's the taxi number being provided from the LG phone, correct?
Yes.
And now the Kyocera phone saying, I'm in Springfield.
Yes.
So now it's Nick, right? He's saying, I'm in Springfield. Yes. So after discussing the expense at the hotel, this message from the LG phone says, unless you want to do it tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And this is from the LG phone talking to the Kyocera phone about your mom.
Yes.
As opposed to the mom of the first one. And again, this is from the LG phone saying, I will text you. We are doing this tonight. That's Gypsy.
Yep. Yes.
This is from the LG phone saying, hun, does he require just the, and it says grubs or gloves and knife.
Yes.
And the reply is, that side of me expects duct tape too.
Yes.
This is from the Kyocera phone saying, I should ask you this before he has to. Is your mom a light or deep sleeper?
Yes.
This is from the LG phone saying, the shit's gonna go down tonight, Ruby said.
Yes.
This is from the Kyocera phone saying, babe, it's my evil side doing it. He won't mess up because he enjoys killing.
Yes.
This is from the LG phone saying, I left the gloves outside the front door and the screen door is squeaky. So try to open it just enough to get in and close it gentle.
Yes.
And again, from the LG phone, I will hand him the knife and duct tape inside, darling.
Yes.
And here from the LG phone, I'm doing my nails too.
Yes.
And there's an interaction about red nails, and she replies, I'm painting them a dark pink.
Yes.
This is from the LG phone. I am, Daddy, just as a backup. If it doesn't go right, see here, if it doesn't go right,
Uh-huh.
run out of the house as fast as you can, hun.
Yes.
And he replies, Baby, there is no other option. He is going to finish her no matter what. That is how he is.
Yes.
And she says, Okay, darling, he's brave. I respect and admire that.
Yes.
And here too, the LG phone, honey, you forgot that he is ruthless and his hatred of her will force her to die, hun.
Yes.
And this is from the LG phone, and we'll be happy soon. After this night, we'll never bring it up.
Yes.
Now this is from the LG phone at 1:08 a.m. on June 10th. I know what you mean, hun. It's getting close to the time. She took her sleep aid pill.
That's Gypsy.
Yep. And here from the LG phone providing the address 2103 West Volunteer Way, Springfield, Missouri, blah, blah, blah. Here from the LG phone, will you send an anxiety med to calm you after, hun? Will you need an anxiety med to calm you after, hun? He says, yes. And here from the LG phone, it says, at the hotel, we can go slow. Oh, and
This
you may
is
not,
Gypsy.
yeah, this is Gypsy. We can go slow. Oh, and you may not need to put on the gloves. You may not need to put on the gloves because we will sync it so it's never found. And this is
Yes.
from the LG phone again. I'll listen to him, darling. It's go time. Are you ready? Now at 2:01 a.m. from the LG phone. Sir, will you text me once you're at the door with the gloves on? Yes. And
So
now
she
at 2:07 from the Kyocera phone. I'm here. And you get your ass to the bathroom. You open the door. And the last one in this series at 2:08 from the LG phone. Yes, sir. I'm going now, sir. No further questions. The judge asked Mr. Stanfield cross-examination, and Stanfield's like, hell no. Hell no, cross-examination. Yeah, Stanfield's like, yeah, it's enough damage.
For real.
And yeah, that was enough damage. And the court, okay, thank you. State rests. Any evidence for the defense? No, Your Honor. Any argument? No, Judge. Stanfield says. As to count 1 and 2, the court finds probable cause to believe that a felony was committed and the defendant committed it. Boom.
Yep.
This case is bound over for arraignment in circuit court. The court will propose July 31st. And then Patterson, can I ask for the 7th? We are not waiving the 10-day rule. And then this is more just
There's
stuff about,
closing it out.
yeah,
Closing it out.
closing it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
Yeah.
That was the preliminary. That was the preliminary. Interesting. I've never gone through that. Never
Well,
seen it
what comes
before.
after that? A pre-trial hearing? I need to get
Okay.
that. Somebody out there needs to get the pre-trial
Somebody go
hearing.
get the pre-trial for me, please. I'm just kidding.
I had to get this from, like, they transferred me to some private company that had transcribed this.
Oh, you got this yourself.
Yes, I got that all by
Okay.
myself. I paid for it.
Oh,
But
girl. Okay.
I think it's
Everyone,
interesting to watch the process they were going down, and then
I do
the
too.
stuff, these pictures with the knife, and they're comparing the knife
That's
to
all
the
new
murder
though. We didn't
weapon.
know she took pictures with the knife, right?
Well,
I mean
we've seen this one. I've got it on my StreamYard here. Hold on. The infamous picture. Shit, my computer hates me today. It really does. You know, the one of Ruby licking the knife. Here it is.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. So
This
maybe that's
one.
it, right?
But that's
That's
not
the
it.
knife. That's
No,
not the
that's
knife though,
definitely
is it?
not it. So there could be
No.
other pictures, and this one of Ruby
But that's not it.
was taken, I think, in the whichever one has a purple wall. It's not Dee Dee's room.
Mhm.
So if she was taking pictures of knives in Dee Dee's room, maybe there's some we haven't seen. I don't know, but
Yeah.
they sure were interested in comparing it to the murder weapon.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
So was Gypsy, how long did she have that knife before they actually...
The actual murder knife?
Yeah.
We don't know. We
They
don't know.
never
She never
found
said.
her. Yeah, and they
Mm-mm.
never found her on those Walmart videos that they were
never,
going
yeah,
through.
okay. Yeah. They never found her shoplifting it.
Mm-mm.
But she admitted it, so.
Yeah, so it must have been sometime before that, because Gypsy would stick out like a sore thumb. I'm surprised she got away with that shit.
And just like she tried to shoot her mom a few years before this. I mean, we know she's been trying to kill her mom for a while, right? I mean, yeah.
Yep. All righty.
Well,
I'm gonna
thank
wrap
you.
it up.
I
Yeah,
enjoyed
you're
that.
the real superstar because you had to I just had to say yes every 5 seconds.
Oh, no, it's fine. Yeah. It was my warm up for doing my audio this afternoon. Yeah.
Oh, good. La la la
Yeah.
la.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll have to do this again really soon. It's fun.
Yes, we'll have to chitty chat, see what else
happens.
Okay. It's always something.
All right, guys. I'm gonna go then. Thanks again,
All
Starlight.
right,
I'll see you guys later. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Ugh. Sorry. I've been sitting here too long. I need to get up and move around. But yeah, I think those documents are interesting, especially in light of everything else that's come out. It just shows you, basically that they had... Gypsy, you would have been screwed if you went to trial. And you knew that. And Mike Stanfield, you're a dirty, sneaky, slimy snake for getting her that plea deal. Guess that's a summary of how I feel about those documents right now. Because she was fucked in all the ways possible. Even soft, wet anal, according to her. All right, everybody. I am tuckered out. I'm tired. I didn't even do anything but read, but I'm tired. I'll see you guys later. Maybe tomorrow, possibly. We could do a little open panel, little shitty talk. Oh, well, I keep forgetting. Hello. Tonight, Bro will be on Gypsy's live stream. So if I'm home, which I don't know if I will be when she goes live, hopefully I am. We will see. If I'm able to restream it, I will, or we'll figure out something, some sort of watch party. I'm excited. Oh, man. Good times, bruh. Good times. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. Always appreciated. Becca, again, is the real MVP for reading most of that. But yeah, the watch part. Someone needs to have a watch party of the watch party, Quiche. Thanks, Jetica. Thank you guys for sticking in there. I know it's hard to listen to documents, but I find them very interesting, okay? I like me a good document. Where are we watching? Sorry. I don't know. I may stream it on YouTube and do a watch party on YouTube. We'll see, though. All right. It's time for me to go. And his daughter has autism. He had no problem sending Nick up the river. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know his daughter was autistic. All right. Peace. Yeah, free Latitty. Free Latitty. We need more Latitty. It's been too long. Come on, Latitty. No, you don't have to download TikTok. We could stream it somewhere. We'll figure it out. Don't worry. You'll see it one way or another, Phaedra. I promise. I will review it. That's what we'll do tomorrow is we'll rewatch it and talk about it. All right. I really do have to go. Bye, everybody. Love you so much. Thank you for being here. And I will catch y'all maybe later. Keep your eye out. Okay? Bye, everybody. A disclaimer that I don't have all that much time today. Got a little bit of time today.
This beat is going to drop in 4, 3, 2, 1.
fair game, right? Bye, everybody.